fast forward years later, they're in a position now where, some are picking them to get to the Super Bowl because of the acquisitions that they had over the offseason. So, yes, I'm sure Oakland fans probably, once they found out, they probably were screaming. Well, not Oakland, Las Vegas fans. Well, Oakland fans, too, because I'm sure they still follow the team. But Raider fans, let's say that, they're probably,
I think they're scattered all around the Raider
exactly.
fans.
I'm sure they're probably upset hearing the news. But listen, your team is in a perfect position right now to compete, like truly compete for a Super Bowl. You have a good defense. You have a good quarterback, more than solid. He's one of, I would put him as a top 20 quarterback in the National Football League. You have a top 3 wide receiver. You got a really good tight end. Your offensive line's good. Your running back, is good. So you have the pieces in place to make a truly a playoff and Super Bowl run. So I know they're probably looking at and saying, listen, we could have won a Super Bowl. Well, maybe you could have. Maybe you couldn't have, because you didn't have the personnel that Tampa had. Tennessee didn't have the personnel other than Derrick Henry that Tampa had. So who's to say that Tom Brady comes in and you automatically win the Super Bowl? Well, it was the case with Tampa, because they had a really good defense too. The Titans didn't.
Not at the time.
No.
That would have been, that's the great what if. Like, what do you think would have happened if they had actually signed Brady and gone that? But
and remember, they started off very slow. Tampa did. And many were wondering, like,
7-5.
Many was wondering, like, was this the right move? But because they had a really good defense, that kept them in it for a while.
And then finally it all came together.
Exactly. It finally all came together.
Jeff texts on our text line, personally, I'm glad they stayed with Tannehill and kept clear of Brady. There's already enough ongoing drama already. So, it's interesting. You do wonder what damage could have been done if there was a public pursuit of Brady and then fallen short, and then you had to turn back to Tannehill and try to save face. Or maybe you lost Tannehill in the process.
Yeah.
Maybe Tannehill goes and jumps on another opportunity because his stock was rising at the time. He probably would have had some opportunities. And then who would have been playing quarterback? That is something that they had to consider.
And I'm pretty sure that's what, Tennessee thought. Like you said, we got a bird in the hand, beats two in the bush. I mean, we already got one right now. What if we try to go get this other one, these other two, and it doesn't work out? Now we have nothing. Now we're back to square one, looking for a quarterback. And who do we get? Because we were not bad enough to have a top 15 pick that year.
And still the question that we will always want to know, and I don't know if we'll ever know the answer, is was there a heart-to-heart behind the scenes, away from everybody, that we'll never know about between Vrabel and Brady? Just throwing the situation out there and saying, what do you think? What do you think?
Man, I don't know.
I mean,
people just assume because they're good friends that they had that talk.
Remember the whole rumor that Brady's kids were looking at NBA? Remember that whole thing? It was a really interesting
how this
thing.
Stuff just starts,
I know.
man. It's like, seriously? But, oh well.
So we're looking back on that. We'd love to hear your feedback on any part of this. What would have happened had the Titans actually signed Brady and Gronk, as apparently the Raiders had it there, and John Gruden nixed it at the same time? It's interesting to see what the Raiders have done and what's happened to Gruden. 615-737-1025. We'd love to hear your thoughts on our call or text line. We're coming back with more. Also, later this hour, we're going to talk about Lamar Jackson. Pretty interesting contract situation that has been lingering there. He's still, obviously, he's signed, but he wants a new deal. The whole Deshaun Watson contract has changed the dynamic of his mindset. And Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. He represents himself. So we'll talk about that a little bit later this hour as well. But in the meantime, you're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Smashville's best sports talk.
The back end, he scores!
and every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Kick off week 1 with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's week 1 of the NFL, folks. Joe Rex here to let you know that you can join today. Get started with $150 in free bets. That's $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You sign up with promo code Joe102, get in on the action. You can turn game day into payday all season long. A future bet, $150 NFL. I will say this. I look at the Titans over-under, and I think I might go over at this point. With the Titans at 9.5. I think they're a 10-win team at minimum this season. Do whatever you want to do. Play your way and bet on more than just final score. You can do touchdowns, yards, player props. You can combine bets for a same-game parlay. You're talking about America's #1 sportsbook. Safe, easy, fast. Don't fumble your chance. Get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now available. Free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Tools of the Game brought to you by Northern Tool and Equipment's Sidewalk Sale. This Thursday through Sunday, stop in and save up to 60% on hundreds of the best-selling tools and equipment at Northern Tool and Equipment. Visit northerntool.com to find store locations near you.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Jared Stillman.
Football season, and then football season becomes hockey season, and then it becomes draft season, and then it becomes hockey playoff season.
And company.
Maybe this is something to just get people a little bit interested.
It's a matter of not having too many chefs in the kitchen.
Catch Stillman and company on your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
And I can spot it from a mile away.
Watch live on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds open their series at Durham tonight. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20
on your home for Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
We continue. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5 The Game. Coming up at 11 o'clock, Forever Titan Chris Sanders. We'll get into the Titans wide receiver situation. He and D-Mase have been watching closely. In fact, I was watching Good Morning Football, and they identified Kyle Phillips as a rookie wide receiver among 5 that are making noise in camp. So they did their homework on that. Good stuff. You can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. Our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Willie Donick and Derek Mason here with you. We're asking the question, what did you think at the time when the whole Tom Brady thing was going on, when he was cutting ties with the Patriots after the Titans had beaten them? We now find out yesterday that the mystery team that we've been hearing about for all these years was the Raiders. But how did you feel about it at the time? And now looking back on it, do you wish that the Titans had gotten into the game? For all we know, they did get into the game, and we just never heard about it. So I don't know. But how do you feel about it now? What would have happened in the what if it was the Titans that went for Brady and Gronk, who were sort of a package deal, as it turned out? We know what happened. They went to the Buccaneers, and they won a Super Bowl. A lot of you texting in, 615-737-1025. And we're also asking, what the heck was Gruden thinking when he apparently had it done, according to Dana White, that it was all but done, but he didn't want it to happen. Didn't want it to happen. Gruden wanted to win as the hero. Brady would overshadow him. Ego killed the deal, according to Tom in Nashville. Interesting take.
I could see that happening. Gruden's ego versus Tom's ego. And, because there was rumors that Tom and Tampa's head coach butted heads. And, eventually they got everything straightened out. But there was a period there at the beginning where, the speculation was, hey, Tom wanted to do it one way offensively, and the head coach wanted to do another. And they were butting heads because of it. So just think, Gruden, who, is one of those, he micromanages everything, and he considered himself a offensive guru. How much headbutting they would have done had he went to Oakland, because Tom's thing is, listen, I won 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and that was another thing.
Gruden's thing would have been, I won a Super Bowl too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And that was one thing we discussed too, is Brady, who at the time you were thinking the arm strength isn't quite what it once was.
Mm-hmm.
And is he a fit for the play-action game with Derrick Henry? Because remember, this was Derrick Henry absolutely turning into a superstar. Like, he was really blossoming into one of the biggest weapons in football. Hopefully still that will be the case this year. But he was on the rise at that point. The play-action game that Arthur Smith had put in was the offense. Could you just have plugged in Brady to that offense and it would work? You're right. There were growing pains even in Tampa, and it took 2/3 of the season before they got it all ironed out. And to his credit, Bruce Arians, who was an offensive guy, right? He had his own philosophy on what offense should be, and apparently he was the one that bent a little bit towards the end. They finally got on the same page before it was too late.
Yeah, and who would have said who's to say that Gruden would have done what Arians did? That's for the team, Okay, if this is what Tom feels comfortable with doing, then okay. If it's winning us games, then okay. But they lean heavily on their defense as well. I don't know if John Gruden would have bent. I think John Gruden would have held fast on, this is my team, this is my offense, we're going to run it my way. And maybe, I'm sure that's how it was for a while in New England. And Belichick said, this is my offense, this is the way we're going to run it. And Tom bought into it, but after a while, he started winning Super Bowls. He was able to, give his input more and more. So, I don't know. Maybe it would have worked in Oakland, maybe not. But I just don't think they had the personnel, offensively, to make a Super Bowl run at the time.
Tom Brady, the what if. Back to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jacob from Franklin. Had the Titans taken Brady and Gronk, the NFL would be looking at us, I guess that would be the Titans, like the PGA Tour is looking at the LIV. Okay, interesting take there. Also, I thought they were making a mistake back at the time not to push for Brady, thinking that he could still get it done just like Indy did with Peyton. So at the time, this person didn't leave their name, but he thinks that they should have gone. He was thinking at the time they should have made the push for Brady.
I don't think there was a right or wrong in a situation with Tom Brady, because if you make the push to get him and you get him, great. You also get Gronkowski. But then you got to hope and wish that your defense, doesn't allow 28, 30 points a game.
That would have been the big issue.
Yeah, so it would have been, because the defense was bad back then. They were. Let's just call it the way it was. They were a bad defense. And that ultimately, I think, kept them out of the playoff. Kept them out of the Super Bowl.
You think
because
about,
of their
too,
defense.
Tom Brady, who's kind of out there being recruited. I'm sure that's something that factored in big time. He looked at that Bucs defense. They had a really good.
He looked at their offensive line, and he looked at their skill position. And
then they brought in Fournette.
Exactly.
And did all these other things.
Even without Gronk in Tampa, they still had really, really good skill guys. And I think he would have made the tight end a household name, whether it was Gronk or not. But, when you add Gronk, a future Hall of Famer, to the mix, then that causes you that adds 1 or 2 more wins to your total. Gronk and Tom Brady. It adds 2 to 3. Well, I would say 2 to 3 more wins to your total. So even if they don't get Gronk, they're still a really good team. But they got him and ultimately win the Super Bowl. Who's to say it would have been the same way here in Nashville or in Oakland?
And along those lines, Texter says, one in the hand isn't as great as Tom Brady in the bush, the GOAT. If Ryan Tannehill gets upset, it's a business. Full send on the greatest. A future with TB12 or Tannehill side by side, I'll take TB all day. Ceiling is higher.
But again, I understand what people are saying, but you got to look at their roster, the Titans roster that year. It wasn't a stacked roster. New England's last year with Tom Brady, it wasn't a stacked roster, and you saw what happened. They lost in the first round of the playoffs, and they were struggling throughout the season, really. Now I don't think.
And I wonder about this year's Tampa Bay team,
I don't think going into the season, people truly picked them to win the Super Bowl, because this was an aging team. They didn't have the guys on the outside or the guys in the slot. Their defense was getting a little bit old. They were getting new guys across the offensive line. So who's to say that, okay, he comes here, we're in the same situation, Our skilled guys are not developed. Our defense is one of the worst in the NFL. Why would he want to come here at that time?
I think the Vrabel angle was big.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you thought your in might be. But it was interesting because they had just beaten them. They had just beaten them in Foxborough. So there was a lot of interesting dynamics. Ron, our final texter here, getting a player like Brady would have affected everybody's money. Now, that was a big thing at the time, was a reason to go after Brady was not just, hey, he's Tom Brady, he's going to help your team, but just the spotlight, the tickets that you would probably sell, the merchandise, all of that stuff would have been a reason to go after Brady.
What was that, 2019?
The 2019 season is when the Titans beat them in the wild card game in Foxborough, then went on and beat Lamar Jackson, the MVP of the league, in Baltimore the next week, and then lost to Patrick Mahomes, the eventual Super Bowl champ, in KC. In fact, you and I did the show at Boom Baz, where we're going to be tomorrow night for the trivia night, after they lost at Arrowhead. We had a great watch party there. It was a heck of a run. The Titans were leading that game. So, at the time, you're just trying to put yourself in the shoes of a John Robinson. You could taste the Super Bowl. Like you're thinking you're on the rise. You got a team that can win. I don't think they foresaw that the defense would regress so much the next year, even though it wasn't a great defense on paper. They had sort of overachieved.
The 19 season, I mean, these guys were all young.
Yeah, and they were only
AJ was
9 and 7 in the regular season.
So AJ was young. That was his first year, I believe. Corey Davis, that was his second year or third year,
maybe third
year. Jonnu, that was his second year, I believe. Delaney was hurt.
I'm not sure he was in the
exactly. He wasn't even in the picture.
He had gotten hurt the year before, I think.
No, that was that year he got hurt because he only played 7 games.
But he had come back then. Okay, he just wasn't the same
player after his injury.
Yeah, because he got hurt in Vrabel's first ever game. That was the year before, I think 2017 that he got hurt. I'm trying to think back, but remember he tried to come back and it just wasn't right. He wasn't the same player. Yeah.
And then the defense.
You're trying to set the stage. Like, what is Brady looking at?
Yeah, the defense was young. Jeffrey Simmons, that was his first year.
Right.
You had aging corners.
Logan Ryan.
You had Adoree. You didn't know. He wasn't playing. Malcolm Butler wasn't. He was a shell of himself. So this defense. Harold Landry wasn't the Harold Landry he is now.
Yep, it's questionable.
This defense was non-existent at times. So it'll put a lot of pressure on the offense,
It certainly wasn't what Tampa's
exactly. Tampa had time to get that offense to going because why? Their defense was good.
Yeah, and they overachieved. The Titans' defense overachieved in the postseason and then regressed the following year. So that's our what if for the day based on the news with Tom Brady. When we come back, we're going to hit on Lamar Jackson. What's going on with him? Of course, Derek has a unique perspective on the Ravens and their front office, but it's an interesting negotiation that's happening with Lamar Jackson. How is he handling it? How is the organization handling it? What are the big factors there as he looks for a new deal? Stay tuned. We're coming back with more of Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 The Game.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
On ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Warming temps continue pushing into the mid to upper 80s. By the lunchtime hour, we'll top out upper 80s and a few low 90s for the metro area later on today. Mostly sunny skies for the remainder of the afternoon. For Fox 17, I'm Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McCabe here to tell you about my drink of the summertime. You know it. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball is the first and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. And it's an original, just like me, the suit. I take Screwball as a shot, but it's great on the rocks, in an old-fashioned, an espresso martini, and many other recipes. So next time you're out and about, ask for Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Willie Donick, Derek Mason today on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Chase will be back with us tomorrow. We'll be out at Titans training camp. The Titans preparing for the final preseason game that's coming up against the Cardinals on Saturday. In the meantime, before we get into some nuts and bolts with Chris Sanders at 1 o'clock, so we'll have a couple of former wide receivers, and we'll break down the receiver group. We're going to have some fun with that. Where is Traylon Burks right now? How good is Kyle Phillips? Where's Robert Woods? Can the group get it done as a unit for this team? That'll be the central topic coming up at 11 o'clock. In the meantime, D-Mase, I'm curious your take on the Lamar Jackson situation. First of all, as a player and a former player rep, you understand how negotiations work and how the market can change. So what happened that really got everybody going? The Deshaun Watson contract. Forget about the off-field issues that are still ongoing, and now we think we've got pretty much closure on it. He's going to be suspended for 11 games. But the big thing is when the Browns dove in there and made the commitment to get Deshaun Watson, they guaranteed every dollar of his contract, which was a game changer. So Lamar Jackson is sitting there going, I think I'm better than Deshaun Watson. I've done more. We've won more. I would like a guaranteed contract. And so he represents himself, and he would he would like to get a new deal. First of all, so you've got a great perspective on this because you've been with the Ravens, you've been a player rep, you understand the negotiation process. So first of all, what about his angle, Lamar Jackson, of I'm a pretty darn good quarterback, I deserve what Deshaun Watson gets?
See, that Deshaun Watson contract just messed everybody up.
Yes.
Because Deshaun's he's a top 5 quarterback in this league, top 7, however you want to put it. Let's just try to put aside the off-the-field situations. His talent is a top 5 talent. So if you're just basing it on his talent, then, yes, he should, garner, north of $35 million because of his talent. But when Cleveland guaranteed every cent of his contract, it sent a ripple effect throughout the NFL. Not necessarily just with the quarterbacks, but with everybody. Because all players are now going to look at that and say, don't ever say you can't do a guaranteed contract, because Deshaun Watson got a guaranteed contract. So this sort of thing that, we can't give guaranteed contracts in the NFL because it's such a brutal and physical sport. Well, hockey's a brutal and physical sport, isn't it?
It is.
And they guarantee all their money, right?
They do.
Exactly. So why can't football guarantee all of their cash? Okay? But hockey's a little bit different because they have a true salary cap. Like it's listen, we can't pay, this is what we're going to pay you, and we can't go, over this. So I understand that part. But when Deshaun signed that contract, not only the quarterbacks, but all these top-tier guys, they started looking at it moving forward like, we don't want to hear this, you can't guarantee us no contract no more. Yeah. Because Cleveland did it. Now, owners hate it. GMs hate it.
And I think the ownership of the Ravens came out and said as much.
Exactly.
When that contract was signed by Watson, the Ravens kind of knew what was coming with that because they knew eventually they're going to want to re-up with Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
And they could see the negotiations on the horizon saying, boy, this is not going to be pretty because so the Ravens, what do you think their move will be? How flexible will they be? Will they cave in and say, okay, look, Watson got it. We got to give our guy guaranteed money. I think the other owners are watching closely because they don't want to set the precedent for every quarterback that comes down the road.
Well, they don't want to, but they may have to.
That's the question.
Because you got Burrow, who's coming up pretty soon. You got the kid in San Diego. San Diego. Yeah. Well, not San Diego anymore, but L.A. He's coming up. You probably have 2 other quarterbacks that are going to, even Josh Allen. He's going to play out his contract and want another big contract. So everybody's watching what Lamar Jackson does and what the Baltimore Ravens sign him to. Because if they sign him to a guaranteed contract, then that sets the precedent moving forward for every other elite quarterback, that they're not signing anything that's not guaranteed. And that's what Baltimore doesn't want to do. Because if he signs it, then the next guy is going to sign a guaranteed contract. They're hoping that because Lamar wants to be in Baltimore, they want him there, he doesn't have any representation, that they can get a deal done without it all having to be guaranteed. Now, the man's going to make north of $40 million. I'm telling you, I said that before. And people were like, oh, no, he's not. Yes, he is. He's going to make north of $40 million. Now, how much of that's going to be guaranteed, I don't know. But he's going to make the north of 40 because his talent dictates it because of the way the money is going. You may not agree with it, but these quarterbacks are getting, more than generational money.
They are.
In one season, not a contract. I'm talking about one season. When you're making $40 million, that's generational money.
Yes, it's amazing.
If you take care of
leverage of the quarterback. We've talked about the wide receivers and how that market changed all summer. but the quarterback is still the one, and the bar is raised here because of the Watson contract. Now let's talk about the fact that he doesn't have an agent. Put yourself in his shoes, or back when you were doing negotiations. Mm-hmm. Could you have done that? Could you have represented yourself?
I wouldn't have wanted to, because not to say I couldn't have done it. I had enough smart people around me. My ex-wife she's extremely smart, especially when it comes to numbers, because that's what she studied in college. That's what her finances was her major. So she understands dollars and cents. I had other people around me, financial advisors that, looked out for our best interests. So it could have been done, but I don't know if I would have wanted to hear the conversations back and forth. Yeah. I just wanted to concentrate on football. I just wanted to make sure I did what I needed to do on the field. And if I did that, then the money would take care of itself. And it did.
And that's what's interesting about what Lamar Jackson's doing. He didn't hold out, which, some guys do. But he's been there. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played in the games. And you wonder what's coming here. Like, what if he just picked up and left and said, I'm not playing until we get this deal done?
That's not Lamar. That's not Lamar. I think he's one of those guys that, listen, I'm under contract. I'm going to play it out. And, it's not for me to say whether it's a smart move or not. He's doing what's best for himself and his family. That is it. And, again, I'm sure he has a lawyer saying, hey, listen, that understands contracts. Again, if you get somebody that understands contracts that you only have to pay one time, you're good, as opposed to paying this guy repeatedly every year 2, 3, 4%. Well, I would rather pay the lawyer or the attorney that understands, sport contracts and can work this deal out, and I only have to pay him one time. We set on a flat fee, I pay you, and then now we're gone. I don't have to deal with you anymore. But I get to keep the bulk of my money. So what Lamar's doing, he's doing what's best for him and his family.
Do you think this gets done before the start of the regular season?
I don't know. I know
because he is under contract. Yeah. They can wait. They don't have to have this done day one.
I hope it does. I know Baltimore hopes it does. Just like, if Ryan Tannehill was in the same situation or Derrick Henry was in the same situation and they were representing themselves, I hope it gets done before the season, because you don't want to have to go, as much as players say, in the public, we don't think about a contract. You're lying, because you think about it. Everybody thinks about the contract. I've been in locker rooms and at least you hear contract talk once or twice a week. You hear it.
You can't not hear it.
Yeah, so for people to say, well, I don't think about it. No, you think about it. It's there. It's not going anywhere,
It's great stuff. Something to watch for sure. Lamar Jackson contract situation with the Ravens. We'll turn our attention back to the Titans at 11 o'clock. Chris Sanders will be on the line with us. We'll talk about the wide receiver group as you listen live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Are you sick and tired of constant pain in your knees, hips, or back? Especially this time of the year. You need to be moving pain-free, right? Hey, Willy Donick here for the team at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people every day, giving them lasting pain relief using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The science is simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing the damaged tissue. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery. The old remedies for pain are not the only remedies. You need to learn more about how regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can change your life. Make this the last summer you suffer from chronic pain. They've got clinics here and all over America. This is the exciting new, natural way to deal with joint pain. No side effects, no downtime. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, hour number 2. Willy Donick and Derek Mason here with you. Going to talk some Titans this hour. Later in the show, we'll talk to Joel Corey. This is normally the day that Tim Hasselbeck joins us, but he is off this week. He'll be back with us on a weekly basis starting next Tuesday. Joel Corey, who is a capologist, if you will, he will join us during the noon hour, and we'll talk about some of the issues that are going around the league with teams and the salary cap. But as we promised you earlier, it's time to check in with Forever Titan Chris Sanders, big part of our coverage. He'll be part of our underdog group again, which is going to crank up here very, very soon. But Chris, before we get started here, I think you had a question for D-Mase. I mean, you're not with us. You're on the phone about his wardrobe today.
Hey, I just heard through the grapevine he had on skinny jeans or some Coach's shorts. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. That's my dude, man.
I can say that he's not wearing he is not wearing the skinny jeans. It is a little cooler today, Chris, but the skinny jeans, you still go shorts at this point.
He was at the gym wearing skinny jeans and trying to do squats. I'm kidding. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Man, you can't do no damn squats in skinny jeans.
I mean, they have that material now that expands a little more with the jeans, so.
Oh, he's trying to do lunges showing his thigh, man. I'm like, come on, man.
Oh,
I'm
man.
kidding. How you doing, man? What's good, man?
Nah, nothing much, man. Just talking Titans. You know how it is.
I know, Saint. Yeah, you don't even call me, man. I mean, you don't even check on your brother, man. See how I'm doing, man. I'm just
Hey, man, I know how you doing.
at home, being a bachelor, just eating meatloaf and greens. Man. You gotta check on me once in a while, man.
Meatloaf is good, though.
Yeah? Well, I don't eat meatloaf, so.
But when you can't cook, it's just bland. I mean,
tastes like the TV dinner.
Sauce on it.
So, Chris, let's start the conversation with what you're seeing. First of all, with the group, right? This is a whole new wide receiver group, essentially, right? We know about Nick Westbrook, Aquino. Right. It is Aquino now. We got to get used to saying that. But other than that, overhauling everybody's roles. What are you seeing so far that you like?
The one thing I love that I'm seeing is I like Kyle Phillips. Everybody talks about having, that go-to receiver. Everybody knows about Woods. Everybody knows that Burks is going to play. But I think Kyle Phillips, me watching practice about a week ago, I just think that he's the most polished receiver out of all of them. Because check this out, when you're watching practice, and when you're watching 7-on-7, and when you're watching, situational things that are going on, the quarterbacks are consistently looking at Kyle Phillips. Why are they looking at him? Because they trust him to be in the right spot. I think with Burks, is kind of sometimes relying on how big he is as opposed to just running, the correct route and getting the defensive back off the spot and all those things. But overall, I think this group can definitely be successful.
Now, the one guy that I've been impressed with, Kyle Phillips. I think he's been the most impressive receiver thus far. And, that's putting Robert Woods in the mix and Treylon Burks. I just think Kyle Phillips has separated himself from everyone else and shown that he can be a legitimate weapon for Ryan Tannehill. But Nick Westbrook-Aquino has also been a guy that I'm not surprised by it, but I think some people are, that he's upped his game even more. I said at the beginning of the season, this is a prime opportunity for him to really assert himself as a solid number 2 and a guy that can be a starter on this team.
I mean, you're right, man. I mean, just if you look at all the receivers, he's been the one that's been most consistent. And I think sometimes, we try to focus so much on the sexy names. When I say sexy names, everybody knows Woods, everybody knows Burks because he was a number 1 draft pick. But every time we look up, Westbrook is making plays. And that's why he's lasted in the league, because he's been consistent, Derek Mason. We know that being in the NFL, if you're not consistent, they're going to get you out of here. But just watching him, understanding how to run routes, understanding how to get the guy off the spot, understanding coverages, and coming up with the big play in tight windows. So I agree with you, D-Mase. He's been the most consistent receiver, but I think he's going to be in the mix of being that second and third receiver. Now,
what do you think of what have you seen of Robert Woods? I know we haven't seen him in games. They're going to hold him back, and rightfully so, because he's coming off a knee injury, and he's their number 1 receiver, and they can't afford for anything to happen to him. But him moving forward, do you think it's going to take a minute for him to really get acclimated to this offense and to work through that, to work continually to get that knee back?
Yeah, I think he's got the offense down, but it's going to come down, mentally being in the game. When I say mentally being in the game is, when you start playing the Giants and the Buffalo Bills and, Jacksonville Jaguars, all those teams, they're going to get up in their face and you're going to press you. So I just think that if he's confident with his knee and, he can burst off the cut and not be afraid to make that hard plan, I think he's going to be okay, because we really haven't seen him. We've seen him in 7-on-7. We've seen him in practice. We've seen him in drills. But we want to see him in game action. When he gets in game action against the Giants, I think, with him with the smarts of running routes and things like that, I think he can be a definite weapon for Tannehill.
We're talking to Forever Titan Chris Sanders, another guy.
Why you make me sound so old, man?
Hey, man, hey, listen, that is the name that has been, you have coined that, okay?
Yeah.
That is yours, okay?
It's like I got to hit my hairline's back real far.
Well, it is. Don't lie, it is. So.
Dude, it is gone. Dude, I looked at a picture the other day. Dude, it is way back.
Just cut it off.
Army, I would have to. I did.
We're gonna, instead of Forever Titan, you're just gonna be known as Wayback.
Yeah, Wayback Titan. Woo! I'm gonna keep that one in my pocket. I'm gonna keep that one in my back pocket right there. Chris, the one guy I did that I'm impressed by also is Racey McMath. Now, there's still some things that he has to learn. I thought in the game. When Willis threw him the deep ball to the left side, I think it was on their sideline. If he's a veteran receiver, he goes up. If that was Robert Woods, to me, he goes up and get the ball.
100%.
But Racey McMath allowed the ball to come into his body, which gave the defensive back an opportunity to make a play on it. But what are you seeing from him that's encouraging?
Just a better route runner. I mean, everybody knew when he came out of LSU that, he was fast and he can take the top off the defense, all those things. But the knock on him a little bit was raw. When I say raw, that means, running routes and understanding how to get guys out of the spot and chest over knees and getting out of your cut with a lot of explosiveness. I was at practice last week and I was watching him do drills. He looks totally different than when he did last year, because when I say burst off the cut, and you know this, D-Mase, I mean, you're a great route runner in the league. You can't have a lot of choppy steps at the top of the route. Now, when he first came in, he was having a lot of choppy steps at the route. Now he's getting out of his cuts with explosiveness, and he's understanding how to run routes. But the one thing that I want to see out of Racey McMath is being consistent. Everybody talked about, last week or the week before how good he was playing, but the practice I went to, he dropped about 4 or 5 balls. So if he's going to last in this league and if he's going to be a great, asset to this offense, he's got to be consistent each and every week. And that's the only knock that I have on Racey McMath a little bit.
Chris Sanders is with us. I want to hit you both with this question. When do you think we'll start to see it take shape in terms of the roles? Like, who's in on the 3 wide receiver set? You started touching on this yesterday, D-Mase. What role Burks is going to be in? Is he going to be outside, slot? I think we have a pretty good sense that Kyle Phillips looks like a great fit in the slot. But how does that work, right? When you get towards this stage, maybe next week after the game on Saturday, they'll start to work that part of it out?
Right. I mean, it takes a little time because I coach wide receivers at Montgomery Bell Academy, and what I do is I evaluate each player. And I say, okay, what does he do well? He runs the post well. He runs the choice route well, or he runs the go route well. So I just think that with Rob Moore and Todd Downing, they got to sit down and say, okay, when we go a 3 wide receiver set or we go a 2 wide receiver set, which guys in this formation suits them best? Because the thing about it is, you don't want Traylon Burks to put him in a slot when you know he's not good at running choice routes. They just got to sit down and figure out what's the best role for each player. Like when we had Derek Mason, we had myself, we had Yancey Thick, and we had Joey Kent. We may not have caught a lot of balls, but we knew our role. We knew that if it was 3rd down, it's going to Frank Wycheck. When it's 2nd down, I may get a pass. But the thing about it is, I was a deep ball. Derek Mason was a guy in the slot who ran some great routes, great choice routes, corner routes, and everybody just knew the role. So it's just going to take a little bit of time to take shape. But I just think that when Tannehill or Woodside or Willis gets familiar with these guys, then that's when they can take shape.
So, Derek, do you think, for example, let's just throw Racey McMath out there. Mm-hmm. We're intrigued to see if he's taking a jump. But he's got to be in the game, right? I mean, is there a spot for him when they actually put the rotation together?
I think there is. If you look at what the Titans have done over the last, let's just say since Vrabel has been there, they've rotated their receivers so much so that it truly irritates me as a former receiver. Like, why do you continue to rotate these guys in and out? Let these guys get into a rhythm. But that's the way they run their offense. It seems to work. So when you're looking at Robert Woods, Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, Racey McMath, and Nick Westbrook Aquino, those guys are going to rotate through. I think if Racey continues, like Chris said, he needs to continue to be consistent. He needs to be consistent moving forward. And if he shows that he can be consistent, he's going to become a part of this rotation. Because in my eyes, I don't think Vrabel cares. Like, listen, if you prove you can play, you prove you're consistent and you're doing what we're asking you to do, we're going to rotate you in. We don't care who's in the game. So much so that we saw last year, Julio Jones, who we thought should have been in the game, he wasn't in the game because other guys were showing that they could also get the job done too.
Absolutely, and Derek, that's a great point. And it's kind of like this. When you talk about different guys having a role, just imagine going 22 personnel. That's 2 backs and 2 tight ends and 1 receiver. So basically you do that. You're looking at a run formation. You put Racey McMath out there, flanked out as a wide receiver. You got man-to-man coverage. Now you just utilize his speed, even though he might not be in the 3 rotation with the wide receivers, but you still have a game plan to say, you know what, we're in a running formation. We're going to put him out there and we're just going to let you go get it. So that might be his role. It might be 3 or 4 plays a game, but those 3 or 4 plays that he makes, he has to make when he has the opportunity.
That is going to be interesting to see what formations end up being sort of the bread and butter in this offense. Chris, before we let you go, you mentioned the NBA. Good win for you guys.
Appreciate it.
On Friday. I was curious, though, if you, being a coach on the sideline, if you're bringing back the 80s polyester bike coaches shorts to the NBA staff. I mean, I think that's a good
high ones.
You know how everything goes in cycles. style wise. Is it coming back?
Hey, I did, and then I had my shirt tucked in, and then
with the high white socks.
Hey, you remember Mel Gray?
Yeah.
Remember he used to wear his sweats and he used to tuck his sweatshirt in.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna look on the sideline. I have a cigarette pack in the back. It'd be black and mild. That's what I have.
I'm thinking of my junior high coaches, man. They absolutely did tuck in the shirt.
That's how
the tucked-in shirt with the snaps.
Yeah,
the snaps with the pants.
Yes.
Hey, me and D-Mase are 50. I think he's 49. I'm 50. So we got, when we get old, man, we got to wear those coats.
Got to keep your pants up.
All right, Chris, we're looking forward to talking to you throughout the season. Good stuff.
Man, appreciate you so much. Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right,
Yep.
Chris Sanders, Forever Tight, always livens up a show.
Mm-hmm.
He is a piece of work, and he'll be part of our Underdogs coverage as well. Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. That is coming up again this season. You can sign up today to play along with us at thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app. That's 102.5. Now, Mace, you've got a word before we head to the break, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the wide receiver group when we come back. And then at 11:30, it's going to be Ask D-Mase. So we're going to get people engaged on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can call on the phone as well if you want to go old school, actually have a conversation. You can do that. 615-737-1025. Our phones do work. So that is going to be cool. But D-Mase, get it started.
Yes, I got a quick word for you about Cool Springs MD. So listen, all men listeners, pay attention to me now. This is the time you really, really need to listen. And I need to tell you something about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife, Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune system, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. Men, we know the older we get, the less energy it seems we have throughout the day. So go hit Cool Springs MD. And they are there not only to help you with those things, but they're there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. There's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. So what are you waiting on, man? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458, or visit their website at coolspringsmd.com.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best Sports Talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons. Unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with auto pay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor, Tennessee is the #1 team that is receiving votes, not in the top 25 poll. Do you think they will be a top 25 team this season?
I do, because Tennessee has got the offense to score a whole lot of points. And that gives the defense the advantage of not having to stop everybody. All they need to do is go after the football between the 20s, try to get some turnovers. If you don't, just tackle them before they score a touchdown, get into the red zone and tighten up, force a few field goals. And all of a sudden that offense can take over and force other offenses out of their game plan. So, Tennessee has a chance to be really good. It will all depend on whether some young receivers step up and whether the offensive line, which has a lot of experience coming back, can be better at pass protection for Hendon Hooker.
Tune in Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game. Coming up, Ask D-Mase. And so if you want to get your question in on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, go ahead and jump in there right now. And it does not have to be a Titans question. It does not have to be on wide receivers, although it can be if you want. Anything you want to ask D-Mase. We're going to just have a fun segment coming up at 11:30. In the meantime, I want to get a little further into this. And one thing that really intrigues me about the wide receivers, Derek, is the formations. We know that the Titans want to run the ball. So what's the best way to do it? Is it 2 tight ends? You heard Chris Sanders even say something really heavy, 2 backs, 2 tight ends, which you don't see very often. But you guys used to do that way back in the day with Lorenzo Neal, Jackie Harris, Frank Wycheck. So that was and just the one wide receiver out to the out wide to keep everybody honest, and you can throw out of that. But I wonder what will end up being the prevailing formation for this particular Titans team, and that's something that we won't really know. But let's just take an aspect of that. If Kyle Phillips ends up being a really good slot guy, which everybody hopes that he will be, but you know what? The guy hasn't caught a pass yet. He hasn't played a game yet in the NFL, so we might be putting the cart ahead of the horse here. But to use the slot guy, that usually means you got 3 wide receivers in the game.
Yeah, it does. I don't know how this Titans offense, because I'm looking at this receiving core, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad receiving core because it's not. It's a solid receiving core. If we had to rank this receiving core amongst, other AFC teams, I don't think they would rank in the top 5. But it's a solid core led by Robert Woods. And, I think it could be better as the season goes. And a lot of it depends on, Robert Woods, Treylon Burks, how they both,
which are all all unknown.
Absolutely, how they both get acclimated to playing in this offense during the season. Can Treylon Burks pick up enough of this offense where they can just put him out there and not have to worry about him not knowing what to do? Can Robert Woods, go out there and play, freely and not have any restrictions because of that knee? Now, early on, it might be the case where they're rotating in and out because of that, but I think as the season gets going, they're gonna depend heavy on Robert Woods. They're gonna depend heavy on Treylon Burks. So those guys must. It's critical that those guys show that those two can be the leaders of this room. And being the leaders of this room meaning going out there and making a huge impact during the game.
In the past few years, the Titans tend to use 2 or more tight ends more than just about anybody in the league. Although last year, that started to change some. In the first year after Arthur Smith, they used 3 wide receivers more than they had been. But still, at 59%, I'm looking at Football Outsiders, that's still ranked 24th. So I don't know if that trend is going to change, if they'll use more 3 wide receiver sets. But, of course, one of the big keys is going to be Burks. Now, yesterday, if people missed the show, you expressed a little bit of concern right now whether he is going to be ready with his knowledge of the offense to be out there every play.
Yeah.
So you think it's still going to be a growth process where you're going to see him in situations, packages early as he still tries to pick it up?
Yeah, because I'm thinking back, and even Kevin Dyson, who was drafted in the first round, I think they were drafted right around the same, 15, 16, somewhere in there. And I don't believe, I could be mistaken, but I don't believe Kevin was a starter day one. We knew he had the ability to play the game. He had the talent, but there were a lot of other things that factored into it. Learning the offense and everything else. So I don't think Kevin was a starter day one, but ultimately during the season he became the starter because he proved that, hey, listen, I can play in this league. I've learned everything that you guys have asked me to learn, and I feel comfortable now. So if I feel comfortable, the quarterback feels comfortable with me and Steve, then the coaching staff felt comfortable with putting Kevin out there. I think Treylon potentially can go through the same thing. He may not be the starter day, game 1 or game 2, but I think ultimately if he picks up the offense and the coordinator trusts him, and the quarterbacks trust him, then he's going to be a starter moving forward. So A lot of it depends on, how much of the offense Traylon picks up. And just because he's not a starter day one, and listen, I read these blogs and everything else about the Titans. Just put him out there. He's better than Nick Westbrook again. He's not better than Nick Westbrook Aquino right now. He's not. I'm watching. He's not. Is the talent there? Absolutely.
I would hope
talent is there.
Talent ceiling is way higher.
His ceiling is higher, but at this particular time, right now, if I had to start a game right now or next week or the first game in with the Giants, he's not a starter right now. People get that through yet. He's not ready just yet. He will be ready, but you can't thrust this kid into a situation and he's not ready. So be patient with them.
That's going to be such a big thing to look for because it's hard to even get a glimpse of what it is they want to do until everything's live the first week against the Giants. And there's offensive line issues that go with it. The other aspect of this is the tight ends, right? We haven't really seen, especially in the preseason games, Austin Hooper be involved a whole lot. But if they are going to run a lot of two tight end sets, that's a critical guy, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a critical guy because he's a veteran guy. He understands the game. I think eventually Ryan gets comfortable enough with them that he becomes that guy that he looks for, not only Kyle Phillips, but Austin Hooper and also Chig as well. What I'm trying to understand is this, and we talked about it yesterday with Traylon Burks. Like, okay, you got a new guy in the system. Why don't you manufacture something quick for him, get the ball in his hand, see what he can do? I don't understand why they haven't done that for Austin Hooper as well. This guy you went out and got this guy as a free agent. He's going to be a big part of your offense. Let's get him acclimated in the offense. Let's design something to get him the ball real quick.
You're saying in the preseason
In the preseason. Let's just see how he looks. Get him comfortable with everybody. I know Ryan's not in the game, but just allow him to get a feel of this team. We're not talking about getting a feel of playing football. He has that. Let's get in a feel with this team, And we have not seen that with Traylon Burks, and we have not seen that with Austin Hooper.
They clearly don't have that as a priority, right? It's pretty obvious that the priority is let's take a look at Malik Willis. He seems to be the big focal point of these preseason games, right? Overall, is let's put this guy in situations. Let's see if we can, speed up his learning curve as much as we can. Because once the regular season starts,
he's not playing. He's not.
You hope you don't have to play him at all. So in the games,
he's taking a lot of mental reps.
It doesn't seem like they have a sheet going, all right, I want to see if I can get Hooper in there. Let's get our new guys going. Let's get the ball to Burks. They just don't seem to have that as a priority, for better or worse.
But listen, Vrabel said it. He said, listen, we're just not going to – it's preseason. But then again, I go back to, so what is preseason? There are a lot of teams out there. It's not like you're not going to run these plays that you're running in preseason. You're not going to run them anymore during the season. You are. That's just the way it is. You only got so many of them. It's not like you can hide, 100 plays. You've ran your offense already over the last 2 or 3 years. So you designing something for Traylon Burks or Austin Hooper just to get the ball in their hands and see how they react, it shouldn't make a difference. But, Vrabel, that's the approach. At least that's what he's telling us. That's the approach that he's taking. And, hey, listen, if it's working, then there's nothing you can say. But I would love to have seen, Austin Hooper a little bit more active during preseason. If he's out there, allow him, throw him some passes, design something for him quick, a simple route, because defenses are playing simple defenses right now. Cover 3, cover 2. You can't design a couple of quick outs for him to get the ball in his hands. He and Traylon Burks.
Could tomorrow's practice be something you work on that with?
Yeah, it could be, but there's still nothing like a game. It's different. Even though you're practicing against a different team, there's still nothing like a game, So
something to look for this week. When we come back, it'll be Ask D-Mase. We already have a few texts in there, but I'd love to get as many as we can in the next segment. Ask D-Mase anything. Within reason. I mean, it's got to be airable, you know. But hey, look, D-Mase is ready to take your questions. He is the man. 615-737-1025. We've got him lined up here. In the next segment, we'll fire away. Don't forget, at noon, Joel Corey will join us. We'll talk some salary cap issues around the NFL, including with the Titans. How healthy is the salary cap? And if they are running around looking at the waiver wire for ways to improve their roster, how flexible is their cap to be able to pull that off? Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming on the show. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you sick and tired of constant pain in your knees, hips, or back? Especially this time of the year. You need to be moving pain-free, right? Hey, Willy Donick here for the team at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people every day, giving them lasting pain relief using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The science is simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing the damaged tissue. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery. The old remedies for pain are not the only remedies. You need to learn more about how regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can change your life. Make this the last summer you suffer from chronic pain. They've got clinics here and all over America. This is the exciting new, natural way to deal with joint pain. No side effects, no downtime. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
This week's Nashville's Best Deal is Seafood Sensation. Often imitated but never duplicated, Seafood Sensation is Nashville's original seafood restaurant. Right now, you can get half off a $25 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes, like their crab legs platter, grilled salmon, and more. That's Seafood Sensation, located at 2719 Jefferson Street near the TSU campus. Get half off a $25 gift card while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Dominic Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Okay, it is time for Ask D-Mase on the show. We're looking for creativity. We're looking for texters that can liven up the show and bring out the best in Derek Mason. You can ask anything. within reason. Do we put any ceiling on this, Derek, or is the canvas wide open?
The canvas is wide open, but it has to be radio.
Yes, it's got to be airable.
Airable,
of course.
Yeah.
This is we're at the daytime here. This is not the overnight show where maybe even there's even more boundaries to work with here. But we've got a lot of people lined up on our text line 615-737-1025. Let's just see where this thing goes. We have done this a couple of times. We're going to do it on a weekly basis. I think this is going to be some fun. Let's start off with this one. Is that – it helps if you put your name on here. This is an unnamed texter. Is that D-Mace's Range Rover in the parking lot? I just passed by, and that's got to be his. Now, wait a minute. Is this one of our employees working here? What's going on with that?
No, it's not mine. I can tell you that.
Is this an inside joke? Is this somebody that knows you? I don't know. It's an unnamed texter. All right. Josh says, the real Ocho Cinco. Do you think they're trying to hide Traylon Burks in the preseason, but letting him play the whole games to get in the game shape? I feel like although the quarterback play hasn't been the best, they've hardly targeted him in the first 2 preseason games.
You don't hide a player. There's no way you can hide a player. This is not like baseball where you can hide a player in AA or something, or AAA, or college football where you can hide the player because you got 100 guys, so you can kind of put him back. This is a first-round pick. I understand in a sense what the texter is saying, but in this league, there's no hiding an individual. I could see if he was a 7th-round pick, and they saw some things in him during practice that they're sort of pulling him back a little bit in the games because they think he may not make the team, but they're going to put him on a practice squad. But this guy's a first-round pick. You can't hide him. He's 6'3". Who you hiding him behind? Derrick Henry? Taylor Lewan?
There's a lot of people can hide behind those guys.
Exactly. So, but no, I don't think they're hiding him. I just think there are some things that he is doing pretty good, but then I think the Titans are not fully 100% comfortable with just throwing him out there.
But you're on record as saying you'd like to see him throwing the ball.
Yeah, I would like to see some things sort of, especially this last game. Get him some quick stuff, slants, hitches, quick outs to get the ball in his hands.
Unnamed texter, what running back on the Titans roster should I pick up besides Derrick Henry?
Hassan Haskins, I think.
You think he's worth the pick?
I think he's worth the pick.
Deeper league?
Yeah, he's going to be – he's either one of those guys late picks, or if a guy gets injured and you have to pick him up. I think a lot of it, because I don't think in many fantasy drafts he's going to be picked, period. So he'll still be out there. So you start to think, well, you watch the Titans, is he getting in the game more and more? And if he is, then he's one of those guys. Because he's not only a good runner, a really good runner, he can catch the ball out the backfield.
And you think he's a pretty good pass protector, too.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I think he's picking that up. And that's one of the most important things, when coaches are evaluating running backs as far as are you a 3-down back? Can I put you in a game? They want to make sure that you can pass pro.
I think it's going to be a huge thing to watch is the usage of Derrick Henry and how much Haskins and Hilliard get in there, what that rotation looks like. All right, let's get to the phone. Doug is on the line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We've got some other texters lined up, 615-737-1025. We're asking D-Mase. Doug, welcome in.
Hey, guys, I'm coming out of both barrels. You said you could add something serious and something on the humorous side. My serious question is earlier you said Traylon Burks and Robert Wood had to be the go-to guys, and you didn't mention Nick Westbrook Aquino, who was there last year and had to grow up. So why didn't you mention his name? And on the other barrel, Tom Brady could flex his muscles and make a coach bend and lean his way. I'm asking D-Mase, how much flexing could you do to make a coach change his offensive way of thinking? Did you lean on somebody and clear your throat and say, hey, this 5'9" dude from Michigan over here, y'all better do something? So that's my both barrels.
All right, good one, Doug. I like it. Coming at us from both barrels.
No, I think moving forward, and the reason I mentioned Woods and Burks because Aquino I think he's shown that, hey, listen, I'm a guy that you can trust. I'm a guy that's going to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to catch the ball. The quarterbacks, at least, Ryan has trust in him. That's why you've seen him catch, his catch count went up from the previous year, and it went up last year, and I guarantee it goes up this year if he stays healthy. So I didn't mention him because he's been a part of that receiver rotation, and he's taken another step. So I expect him to continue to play well. I mentioned Woods and Burks because these are two guys that are new to the system, and these are two guys that they are going to, if you go out and get a guy and you're paying him the money that they're paying Woods and you draft Traylon Burks, then you're going to lean heavy on those guys to produce. That's why I say it's going to be critical for those guys to pick up on the offense, get that rapport with Ryan Tannehill as quickly as possible. Again, I don't see Traylon Burks as a game 1 starter, maybe not even a game 2 starter, but I do. He needs to be a starter, sometime early in the season.
Boy, if he's not after 4 or 5 weeks, then you would really have to be concerned.
Then we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then the other part, I didn't go to Michigan, but he probably meant the state of Michigan.
He said from Michigan, I think, but we have to clarify.
From Michigan.
Green and white all the way.
Yeah, I'm green and white all the way through and through. I'm 5'11", not 5'9", and
I think Doug was trying to give you some.
And I did lean on some offensive coordinators every once in a while. But
okay,
not
so
all
what
the
was
time.
your method? What if you're like, look, I got something on my mind here. I see something. I want to get the ball. Like, how did you do it within the boundaries of the system here? Like, what was your method?
The thing is, you go to the side because every time you come back to the sideline, they ask, "Hey, what did you see? How are they playing it?" Because it's different. That's why some coaches like to go sit in the box so they can see everything from up high. And players, when we're out there, we see things a little bit different than what the coaches actually see on the sideline. So when we come back, because they can't watch everybody. I may be on the far side of the field. So they can't see how that defensive back playing. So we come back and they say, hey, what are you seeing out there? Are they playing this coverage? Are they playing the coverage we thought they were going to play and how they play? What are they seeing? And I tell them, hey, listen, this is what I feel we can get them on, whether it be a slant, hitch and go, hitch, sluggo, or comeback route or go. These are the routes I think we can get them on. And they'll go back and say, okay, we'll draw up a play, not necessarily draw up a play, but we'll pull a play out the playbook and see, how that fits with what we're doing. But it's not like, immediately, I tell them that immediately the next play is that play. No, it's typically, hey, listen, we're going to work through our offense, and when the right time comes, we're going to, that play that you may have suggested, we might run it.
Did you ever get on the phone with the guy up in the press box?
Oh, I've gotten on the phone a few times. I've been called to the phone, too. Like, what in the hell are you doing?
Get D-Mase on the phone.
Get him on the phone. What are you doing out there? I've been called. I mean, I've had coordinators call, and I've called up and, hey, man, what's going on? I mean, I'm open.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm open. I'm open 100% of the time.
7-Eleven.
Exactly.
All right, when we come back, we'll have another round of calls and questions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is our Ask D-Mase segment of the show, and we've got them lined up. We've got a non-football question to lead off the next segment that I think D-Mase is going to be all over. It's a good one. Stay tuned. You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Warming temps continue pushing into the mid to upper 80s. By the lunchtime hour, we'll top out upper 80s and a few low 90s for the metro area later on today. Mostly sunny skies for the remainder of the afternoon. For Fox 17, I'm Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before. And it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Angie's List is now Angie, your home for everything home. With Angie, you could cross your next project off your to-do list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, and we'll handle the rest. Sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly. All for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream remodel. Because however you want your project done, we'll get it done. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving. SPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio. Nick Keyser with us as well, producing today's show. Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 5:35 over on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds are on the road facing the Durham Bulls, AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Now, we're asking D-Mase. This is the Ask D-Mase segment on our phone line and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Here is the one, D-Mase, you're going to be all over. Who would succeed more in the others era, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Right up your alley. You being a Lakers fan, you're watching LeBron, the later stages of the career. As a Laker, you saw Michael Jordan break the hearts of your Lakers back in 91. So who would succeed more in the other era?
Who would succeed more in each other's era? Like if LeBron went back to Jordan's era and Jordan went to LeBron's era.
Like, is anybody guarding Jordan in this day and age?
Well,
with the hand-checking restrictions?
Probably. I mean, my son's probably listening because he just got in town for an appointment. So, and he's a huge LeBron fan. Like, there's like everything starts with LeBron. Like, he has started a sentence with LeBron. It's just like, I don't know how many times I heard the name LeBron over the trip, but I heard it. It's just like he has started an argument. He'll just say LeBron's the greatest and he's better than Jordan, and off we go. But with that being said, both of them, to me, both of them would be great in either era. I don't think these young the younger generation understands how good Michael Jordan truly was. They see highlights and everything else, but he changed the way the NBA called fouls. He changed the way teams played defense. It got so bad that it was called the Jordan rules. There was only 2 guys that ever had rules. That was Shaquille O'Neal, and maybe Wilt had them, but I don't know. Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan. The Pistons had the Jordan rules, like you're not coming in the lane. You're not.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to beat you up. Like physically, we're going to try to just pummel you every time you come in. The NBA said after a while, we can't have this. This guy, he is the NBA. So hand checking was taken out. All these other things was taken away. And it's made the game easier for guys like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and LeBron James. Now, listen, LeBron could have played in the era that Mike played. He's 6'9", 260 pounds. He's just a brute.
He just would have had to play differently.
He would have had to play differently. It would have been a little bit more physical because you got to just think. LeBron James and Anthony Mason going up against each other. Tell me that wouldn't be a
Charles
battle.
Oakley.
Oh,
Yeah.
Charles Oakley. Xavier McDaniel. Guys that were known for just aggressive play. That's who Michael Jordan
But
had to play
LeBron
against.
is probably bigger,
Yeah,
thicker than a lot
exactly.
of those guys, even though those guys were
But it
about
still
the
would have,
toughest
Karl
guys.
Malone, it still would have been
Rick
a
Mahorn.
battle. Rick Mahorn, it still would have been a battle, and that's what Michael had to go through. LeBron didn't have to go. But again, LeBron would have been great had he played in Michael's era, and Michael would have been great if he was playing now.
All right, Ron is the next texter asking D-Mase. D-Mase, have you ever taken a back seat to a player you knew was better than you in a certain situation, even though the coach wanted you instead? I'm not sure I follow the question here, but do you know of a player which that happened to? But I guess, I don't know. So,
You have to, I think, as a player, and he's probably meaning. Now, I'm not going to take a backseat to nobody throughout the whole season. That's just not. I stand on my skills and my ability to play the game, so I'm not going to take a backseat to anyone during the whole season. Now, there are times in the game where I got to be a decoy. I got to do things. The ball's not coming to me. It may be going to someone else. But because I am the guy, I have to do certain things to draw the defense and make sure everyone else gets an opportunity to make plays. And if you do enough of that, now people start to, guard those guys. I look at, Drew Bennett, a prime example. When Drew, as a rookie, Drew, didn't nobody know about Drew. But, all the coverage was toward me. But after a while, they figured out, like, we can't leave this guy one-on-one because he's beating people, like legitimately beating people. So then they started to play it a lot honestly. So I think that's what the texter mean when he said, have you taken a backseat? Yeah, I have. I had to.
Who was the toughest cornerback that you ever lined up against, and why were they so tough? This is from Colin.
Boy. Probably, what is his name? Out of Michigan, played in New England. Why am I forgetting his name? He's a Hall of Famer now. God, I'm forgetting his name. Defensive back. Can't remember it right now. It's eluding me. But no, he was probably
Ty Law.
Ty Law. Yes.
Okay.
Ty Law was probably.
So it's easier. You just try to erase the Michigan guys from your memory. That's what it is.
But Ty Law, he was just. I mean, I played against him my freshman year at Michigan, and I wasn't playing much, but I was on the field every once in a while, and he was that guy. And then once I became a starter, he was just the guy that was. He was one of those guys. He was savvy, smart, disciplined, physical. And also he had speed to run with you down the field. So you had to work extra hard to get open. So that's the guy that, that really, like every time you played him, just like, man, he was always there. He was just gave you fits. Now, I played against, Champ and all those, and those guys were great, but they weren't. I didn't have the trouble with them that I had with Tyler. I just didn't. When I went against those guys, I felt I was in my game. I felt
so he matched up well against
he matched up well against, and Darrelle Revis matched up well when I played them. So
all right, David, text from Arkansas. D-Mase, what other schools did you have offers from? And had you not gone to Michigan State, what was the next option?
Have I not gone to Michigan State? Man, I can't say that. I went to Michigan State. I bleed
there wasn't a second
green
choice?
And white. No. I could have. I got recruited by Michigan. I got recruited by Colorado. Got recruited by Kansas. I got recruited by just about every Big Ten school coming out. You got to remember, I only played 2 years of football. My junior and senior year. So it wasn't until my senior year. I had some numbers my junior year, but we were a run team, and I played a lot tight end then. But then my senior,
you played tight end?
I played tight end too. And then my senior year,
usually it goes the other way, right? You go from the outside and you move in.
Exactly, but no, I was playing tight end a lot too and receiver because we ran the ball so much.
Okay,
it wasn't until my senior year where the coordinator became the head coach, and he was the baseball coach, and the quarterback was the pitcher. So it worked out well for me. Me and Jimmy Hill, I mean, we probably was the best combo in the state of Michigan, if you ask me. So when I got recruited, it was based upon really 1 year. So I got a lot of offers, but I chose to go to Michigan State, and I made the right choice.
Oh yes,
I think Michigan wanted me to be a defensive back, and I ain't tackling nobody. I'm not doing that, man. No. I played safety in high school.
I always remember Steve McNair had a great story with that, too. He said, I always told people I wanted to play quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so he said the major colleges were coming to recruit him, but he said they weren't sending the quarterback coach. They were sending, like, the defensive backs coach or the linebackers coach. And he was like, you really want me to play? And they were like, oh, yeah, you can play quarterback. You can play quarterback. Because that was a trick that a lot of people used. Yeah, they would entice you to sign, saying, oh, we'll give you a look at quarterback, and then 2 weeks into the preseason you're playing linebacker or safety or something like that. And he was like, no, I want to play quarterback. And obviously he was right. All right, we got Ricky here. Racy McMath looks like he's improved a lot this camp. Do you think Racy can play a major role for this offense? And what do you attribute to his growth as a player? Is it coaching or his personal offseason work?
I think if and Chris brought it up earlier in the show, if he's consistent, because he's shown flashes of what he can do. I think they like the physicality that he plays with, his physique, his ability to get down the field. He's probably the only guy that can stretch the field on that team, like legitimately stretch the field. But he just needs to be consistent. If he's consistent, he will find a role in his offense. And I think he's gotten better because he's wanted to. And, Rob Moore is an excellent a teacher of wide receivers, and I'm sure Rob is giving him every tool in the tool belt to use, and he's taken that and he's worked on it over the summer, and it seems like he's gotten bigger, stronger, and faster. So, I think if he just continues to be consistent, the sky's the limit for this young man. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar this year, but if the consistency comes, he has the athletic ability and the traits to be a really good receiver.
Intriguing guy to watch. All right, last one. This has been a huge success. We can't even get to all of them today. Mm-hmm. So we will come back to this again next week. It's going to be a weekly segment, Ask D-Mase. But here's the last one. Who has been your best lifelong friend that you met on the team while playing for the Titans?
Oh, I was just about to say just period. Chris has, Kevin, B-Hop, Blaine. And again, not that we hang out all the time, because we don't, but when I see those guys, it's just like,
right, you have a bond.
It's just a bond we have, and it's just we can just talk and enjoy conversation.
Right. And you know each other on a deep level, not just, hey, we played together.
Absolutely, kind of we could just talk about things, So, because I understand these guys got lives and they got families, and Hoppy got kids that, I think his last one just graduated from college, or
it's been unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
So he was catching balls in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So he has one in the NFL, one's playing baseball. I mean, he's just, and his daughter's doing well. I think she's still at UT, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin has his kids. He has a younger one.
That to me has been what's so cool about being a major league market. Like when you guys were playing, we had no history of that. But now here we are a generation later, and you guys have all had your footprint over our community. You've got kids out there. You've got, just like you were talking about there. There's history now there.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Everybody knows what Eddie's doing. So, guys, just I think we have families, and you just don't have the time that you used to have.
All right, when we come back, we will talk to Joel Corey. Normally, it's a Tim Hasselbeck segment, and he'll be back with us on a weekly basis next Tuesday. So we're looking forward to his contribution as always. But Joel Corey, excellent capologist. He's got a podcast we're going to tell you about too that gets into some of this stuff. Salary cap issues are always huge at this time of the year as teams are starting to construct their final rosters in the next week or so. We'll talk about it when we come back here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You watch The Game.
And he's going. Nobody's going to catch him. Derrick Henry, touchdown.
We talk The Game.
I don't think it was a bad play, but he took out their goalie.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky to save me, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stoney Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
We move into the second half of Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game. Willy Donick, along with Derek Mason, here with you. And we are pleased to be joined by Joel Corey. We're going to talk some NFL salary cap stuff as the rosters continue to be shaped for the regular season. A lot of big stories out there. And, of course, the Titans have some big decisions to make down the road. Joel, good to talk to you as always.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We are doing well. So, Joel, let's start with this because D-Mase and I kicked this around in the first hour of the show. once the Deshaun Watson contract, forget about the offseason issues or off-the-field issues with Deshaun Watson, once he signed that big game-changing contract with the fully guaranteed salary, everybody knew there would be a domino effect. And right now it looks like that's at the center of the Lamar Jackson situation.
Oh, yeah, understandably so. That if I'm Lamar, I want a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson. He's quarterback in a division. He's got off-the-field issues, which are well documented. I don't have any, is something Lamar can say. I want an MVP. He hasn't. I don't care what Kyler Murray got. I'm pointing at this one. I want a fully guaranteed contract. If you can't do a fully guaranteed contract, I might be inclined to go the franchise tag route like Kirk Cousins did a couple of years ago. I would expect the Ravens to put an exclusive franchise tag on him, which happens most of the time with quarterbacks if we get to that point. And if he plays on 2 tags, that's going to be basically $100 million over 2 years, and he can walk.
Wow. So what do you think the dynamic is? How tough is it for a player to negotiate his own contract, especially when we're talking about the magnitude of this particular contract?
Well, the agent serves as a buffer because when I was an agent, I didn't tell clients some of the negative things that the team said about the player. If you don't have the buffer, then the team either has to be diplomatic in what it says, or it can offend the player because the player obviously has a lot of confidence and may have a higher opinion of himself than what the team does, and that may be hard to hear directly. Although we've seen some players who haven't had an agent may have had behind-the-scenes advisor do very well. DeAndre Hopkins, the new money average for his deal, averaged 27.25, made him the highest-paid wide receiver. Bobby Wagner became the highest-paid off-ball linebacker in 2019 without an agent. And Laramie Tunsil reset the offensive tackle mark without an agent.
Joel, one thing that's getting kicked around here just is a theory. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but with a team trying to massage their own salary cap and trying to create some flexibility or keep some flexibility, I don't know exactly where John Robinson feels he is along that front. His comfort level with the flexibility. But one race that's going on right now is interesting with Brett Kern, the veteran punter, who's got a cap. Even though he redid his deal, he's still, 2.7 against the cap. And you've got this young rookie punter who would be the league minimum. How important in the grand scheme of things would $2 million be against the cap for a GM at the beginning of the season who might be looking at other areas on the roster that he might need to address?
It could be a concern, but I don't think you like the Rams were last year when they had Corey Borquez in camp and Johnny Hecker, and they ended up getting Hecker to take a pay cut and traded the other guy to the Packers. Right now, you're sitting on about $11 million in cap space where the top 51 counts. Once everything starts counting, the first day of the regular season, Thursday, September 8th, that includes the practice squad, which will take up roughly 3.5 if you have the whole 16 players in the practice squad the whole year. You're going to lose maybe $5 million of that space. Teams like to have about $3 million to get through the season. Some will cut it razor thin and have to restructure a contract or two. And you'll see teams who are tight against the cap restructure contracts between now and the beginning of the regular season for cap purposes. But you're not in a position where you have to do that. So it could be a situation where if Kern is clearly the guy, you keep him. If it's close, maybe you go with the rookie just because you'd have a cost-contained punter for the next 3 years.
We're talking with Joel Corey. You can follow him on Twitter at Corey Joel, former agent, contract talks, and sports salary caps. Now, Joel, the Titans have a, Big Jeffrey Simmons is coming up pretty much. There's been just a little talk about his contract situation and him wanting a bigger contract. And he deserves it by the way he's played. Do you think it's advantageous for the Titans to get it done immediately or to wait till that last year?
Whenever you have a Pro Bowl caliber player or a very good to great player, the sooner you get it done, the cheaper it's going to be for the team. Now, that being said, Simmons is a first-round pick. First-round picks ordinarily do not get contracts after 3 years because you have a fifth-year option. This year, only one player in his draft class that was a first-round pick has signed an extension. That's Kyler Murray. On average, it's 3. Some years it's 0. The 2014 draft class, which was phenomenal, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack, Zach Martin, nobody got an extension after 3 years. You guys with Taylor Lewan did not give him an extension until his contract year, so I wouldn't expect it, and it's not really the norm. So Jeffrey Simmons, I always thought would play out the 4th year.
Now, with that being said, with Jeffrey, what do you think the ballpark is for him? Are you starting the number somewhere around what Aaron Donald got, or are you going a little bit lower or a little bit higher?
Well, no one was getting to Aaron Donald's 22.5 before he had his deal redone this spring. So you're not getting $31 million per year. What Aaron Donald's going to do is raise the boat or raise the level for everybody else under the theory of rising tide lifts all boats. So it's no longer a ceiling at 22.5 for interior defensive linemen. So it's going to be north of that. If I'm Jeffrey Simmons, I'm going north of 25, particularly if I play like I did pretty consistently, as in the playoff game against the Bengals. But he's not going to get, I can't see $30 million per year for an interior defensive lineman. You don't have anybody above 30 besides Aaron Donald. And I'm not counting Tyreek Hill. On paper is 30. It's 120 over 4, but just 45 in the last year. So that's really $25 million per year on the extension to me. The next guy to hit the $30 million per year mark as a non-quarterback next year will be Nick Bosa with the 49ers.
Okay. Now, do you think because we've seen over the last, 2 years, really after COVID, that these contracts have started to skyrocket. And if I think back long enough, I probably could pinpoint the one guy and then it kind of accelerated from there. But do you think this thing starts to level off? Because, you look at Deshaun Watson's contract fully guaranteed, and I know that's sort of an anomaly is sort of to the side, but it doesn't seem like these contracts are going to slow down no time soon.
No, they're not. You're going to see the cap start to really grow in a significant manner. First, we have to pay back the money, which kept the cap from precipitously dropping because of COVID. Next year, you won't see huge growth. Maybe the cap's 225. It could get to 230, but somewhere in that range. But it should start taking off after that because that's when the new TV money will start kicking in. So you're going to see more quarterbacks than Aaron Rodgers at the $50 million mark. The guy I'm really curious to see what happens with is Russell Wilson. You've got the richest owner in NFL history who just bought the Broncos and Rob Walton from the Walmart family. He's got an estimated net worth of $60 billion. So he could afford to do a fully guaranteed contract for Russell Wilson. He's got a ton of leverage from the standpoint they gave up a boatload of picks and players to get him. So if he wants to exploit his leverage, then Russell Wilson may be the guy to get a fully guaranteed contract and become the highest paid player at the same time if Lamar Jackson doesn't get it. And then you got the two quarterbacks on rookie contracts from the 2020 draft class who will be eligible for extensions after the season, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. And I'm curious to see where they take it, Burrow in particular, because he's already taken the Bengals to the Super Bowl.
Joel, how much of a big factor is that? An owner that has extremely deep pockets, how much of an advantage is that for those teams?
Yeah, well, the two budgets that teams have, there's the salary cap and there's the cash budget. So if you have deep pockets, then you're not a mom-and-pop operation like some teams. The Bengals, who interestingly just sold naming rights to the stadium, which will be, I think, to cover a Burrow contract. Yeah, you got more.
Yeah, and would you say the Titans are more or less? I mean, that's their background, right? It's a family operation.
Yeah, so if you don't have a guy in that position, but for a fully guaranteed contract, it would make a difference because you have to stick the guarantees in future years, the bulk of them, into escrow. So if you are like the Bidwells in Arizona, Kyler Murray was never getting a fully guaranteed contract because they couldn't stick all that money in escrow. So Denver can. The question is, does the owner want to do that? But, it makes a difference from a cash budget standpoint more than anything else.
Joel, before we let you go, tell us about your podcast. I know we've had you on over the years, but you're starting down this road, Inside the Cap with Joel Corey.
Yeah, it's a podcast which takes a deep dive into salary cap and contract matters. So depending upon what issues are topical, I'll discuss them and try to go in a little bit detail and look at things first through my background being an agent, but also try to get the perspective of the other side of what I think a team would be looking for as well.
Great stuff. Joel, thanks a lot for the insight as always. We'll talk to you down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Joel Corey at Corey Joel on Twitter, and you can find his podcast there, Inside the Cap with Joel Corey. Interesting thing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about when we come back Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. There was an interesting article that came out about the value of their franchise, and we're going to build on what he just said at the end there about when you have the deep pockets, something that Chris Mortensen clued us in on this past offseason too, what factor that's becoming, if any, on how salaries get done, and is it an advantage for certain teams? Stay tuned. We're coming back with more of Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game.
Hey everybody, Willy Donick here to tell you about Trivia Night for Stars. Think you're pretty smart? Well, come on out Wednesday, August 24th to Boombaz East and test your trivia skills. I'll be your trivia master. We'll have sports questions, some non-sports questions, and some great prizes. It's brought to you by Nerdy Talk, and all proceeds support Stars and the hope, health, and connection of young people in our community. Register your team of no more than 4 and let the competition begin. Go to starsnashville.org to officially sign up. That's starsnashville.org. See you on August 24th at Boombaz East.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Celebrate back to school season with Hiller. This month only, get free backyard upgrades when you replace essential home systems like a free Traeger grill with a new whole home generator or a free Yeti cooler with a new tankless water heater. And Hiller's keeping you cool for back to school with 0 interest financing for up to 12 months on select new HVAC systems. Visit happyhiller.com. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
It's a fact. Guys hate going to the doctor. But when it comes to erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues, men from all over Middle Tennessee have been thrilled seeing Dr. Alderson and the providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Men all the way up to 95 years old have jump-started their sex drive and energy levels. Lots of men suffer with ED for years, but now they're able to enjoy sex again. Tom from Nashville said, "The Tennessee Men's Clinic has changed my life. I have been able to be intimate with my wife for the first time in 5 years. She thought this problem was because of her, but the pills never worked for me. I had given up until I went to the clinic and realized there were more options for erectile dysfunction. Now I'm happy and my wife is happy. A visit for only $99, and that includes all testing, including a PSA and testosterone test. Give the guys at the clinic a call at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090. Or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Cromwell Media, who owns this radio station, is observing a significant milestone this month. Our founder, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 50th year as president. Joining Bud with anniversaries of their own are Max Hurst and Scott Meyer with 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and Ryan Burke in our sales department is also celebrating 1 year with us. From 1 year to 50 years, Cromwell Media is a great place to work, and you're invited to join us. Send an email to together@cromwellmedia.com and tell us about yourself. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game. Our thanks to Joel Corey for coming on with us. The former agent has a great feel for the salary cap. Some interesting nuggets there. And it kind of leads us into this particular topic here. You passed along an article, D-Mase, talking about NFL owners and the value of franchises. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys are worth $8 billion. It's the first franchise to be reportedly worth that much.
Yeah. Well, we understand that a lot of this, the value went up over the last couple of years with all of these franchises. Because I remember a few years ago before the pandemic, the Titans were just right at $1 billion, right? So
I don't remember exactly.
I think they were right at $1 billion or close to it. They definitely were not at $3.5 billion, which they are at now. But the NFL and these teams, it's like a cash machine. Each year they grow in value, unless you just run the team in the dirt. And ever since Amy,
which
Adams,
is hard to do.
Yeah, which is hard to do. But we've seen, we've heard of some, owners that have done that or close to it. But since Amy Adams has taken over, this organization has gotten everything in line, and now they go from being I think right at $1 billion to $3.5 billion. They still ranked in a lower part of the NFL, but if you look at the numbers, it's really not much, separating, say, Baltimore at 19 at 3.9 and the Titans at 3.5.
Right. And this is something that Forbes does. They've done this for years. They put out it's an estimate because as we know, it's worth what somebody will pay for. Mm-hmm. And for example, the guy that Joel Corey referenced, the new guy from Walmart that just bought the Broncos. I mean,
his team's worth $4.6 billion, but he could have paid for all of that on his own, which he probably did. But it goes back to what Joe Corey said, too. Okay, this is what the team is worth, and, it's worth, let's say Titans worth $3.5 billion. Well, how much personal money are you worth that you can go and, sign a guy to an enormous contract?
Yeah, write a check and boom, cover it right there.
Well, a guy in Denver can do it.
Yeah.
Can anybody else other than Jerry Jones do it? Maybe Chad Kahn in Jacksonville. Is it Shad Khan? Yeah, I think it's Shad Khan. Yeah.
Shad or Shad. I don't know how you say it. But this is what really I had never thought about until Chris Mortensen was on with us, and we were talking about this past off season. And that is that ability you just talked about to have deep enough pockets to maybe, as Joel Corey called it, the cash flow, right? The ability to get a signing bonus check out to a player to maybe make it easier to negotiate a contract. How much a competitive advantage.
It's like it's almost you're paying it out of your pocket.
Yeah, rather than having to finance and put it in escrow and the different things. I'm not an economics. I didn't take a single economics class in college, and I'm probably glad I didn't. I would have flunked it, but I ran away from that building. But is it a competitive advantage that because I just assumed everybody's got the same amount to spend because everybody's got the salary cap. It's the same.
Well, from a salary cap standpoint, yeah, that's there. But
the flexibility might be better for some teams who have that owner that can say, just write the check, give them a signing bonus.
It's like baseball and basketball. Baseball has a luxury tax.
Yes.
That, okay, this is what the cap is. You can pay over that. But then you start having to pay. You got to write the check to it. Well, not every owner in baseball can do it, but there are some
very
that can.
Few do.
Yeah, very well. Basketball is sort of the same. They have the salary cap, but then there are some owners that can, go into their own personal account and pay these players. I don't know if they have sort of a luxury tax or not. And you got to give kudos to Jared because he had been bringing this up time and time again. On his show that, okay, there is a salary cap, but then there is that point where if you are an owner and you can afford, like the Waltons, to say, hey, listen, yeah, the salary cap is this, but we really want this player, so I don't mind paying out of my pocket this player. I'm not going to do it for everybody.
Right.
But for this specific player, I'm going to do it.
Okay, so let's tie it into a question you asked Joel Corey about Jeffrey Simmons. We know that's going to be a pretty penny. And Joel talked about the old school owners and, the Adams family has owned the Oilers / Titans from the very, very start, right? What did they call it? They were actually advertising the wine, the Foolish Club or whatever.
I saw that,
from the early 60s, right? But there's less and less of those family-operated teams than there used to be in sports. And so in a smaller market like Nashville, will that factor in at all at how they go about the Jeffrey Simmons negotiation? I'm just curious about that.
I don't think it will. They haven't done it thus far with anyone. To my knowledge,
it's never seemed to come up and cost them a player.
Exactly.
In the past.
And I don't think they will moving forward. I don't think they want to set a precedent that way. Because to me, if they were going to do it, they should have did it to A.J. Brown. And at least, if you didn't want to pay him, out of the cap, then you say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do outside the cap. To me, that's one player. If they were going to start to do it, then you do it with him, and then you go from there. But they didn't even do it with A.J. I can't see them. They didn't do it with Derrick Henry, Taylor Lewan. I can't see them doing it with Jeffrey Simmons either. That's just the way I believe. That's just the way they operate.
I do wonder in the coming years, as we were talking about, as the cap goes back up. They've done a great job in the NFL to maintain everything through the pandemic. That when the pandemic was starting, we were all wondering what factor is it going to be that you can't have the fans in the stands, all of that stuff. They're past that, but it did affect the salary cap for a while. And Joel Corey was saying it's going to go back up. Will there be more of a separation in some of these teams that have deeper pockets for signing bonuses and things like that? That's something on the horizon to keep in mind. But we'll see. When we come back, we'll have our fantasy questions of the day. We're going to see what Nick and D-Mase have up their sleeve today on my questions about your fantasy football draft. We try to hit you with the daily dose, little tidbits, because on draft day, you're going to be thinking of us. You're going to think, we covered that. We covered that in the daily fantasy. All right, more coming on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5 The Game.
Titans training camp is underway.
Talking Titans?
What wide receivers make the team?
Traylon Burks.
The physicality.
Robert Woods.
Route concepts and how to get open. Who starts on the offensive line?
It's a full-on right tackle battle.
What other storylines will stand out?
Malik Willis, some of the best he's looked in camp.
Titans training camp coverage is fueled by Parman Energy. Now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com and by USA Hemp Store on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey football fans, Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
I
had low back pain that was due to herniated discs.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, another satisfied patient who found regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I have had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Before Dr. Garzone found QC Kinetics, he was looking at all the old school pain treatments.
It was recommended that I have steroid injections done, but then unfortunately my insurance company said that I would have to do 3 months of physical therapy first, and I needed to get better quickly.
With QC Kinetics, the doctor got lasting relief with no downtime.
I didn't have to take any medications during my treatment. I avoided surgery, and I am now pain-free.
Don't live with chronic pain, and don't go under the knife. Call QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds open their series at Durham tonight. Swing and a miss, strike three. Sounds win. Pregame at 5:20
on your home for Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Fantasy football question number 1. Would you draft Tom Selleck in your list of... I guess he'd be more of a fantasy baseball guy because he played Mr. Baseball back. Played in the Japanese league.
Tom Selleck.
He used to rock the Detroit Tigers hat.
He
had to get your attention there.
Exactly.
And the stash, I feel like, is coming back.
The stash was all of that back then.
Do you notice how many college players are going with this? Like the younger crew is going hardcore into the stash. It is in, and the mullet too.
I don't know if I could ever do the stash, but
I know I can't. I don't. I could never do it.
Yeah, and all the Top Gun mustaches are in.
Yes,
all of them are in, man.
Like I was just talking about the straight up trimmed mustache. And speaking of the mullet, too, we're going to talk with the Nolensville baseball team there. Their third base coach, the youngster, William Satinoff. He's got a little mullet action going. He's got the flow going out the back of his hat. It's good stuff. I wish I could do that. My days of that are over.
Yeah, your days of the mullet is gone, Willie.
Yeah, and I've got no business up top, right? If I work long enough, I guess we can all get the party in the back, right? That's part of the...
I mean, you can if you wanted to.
The bald guy mullet. Now that took guts.
You would have had to wear a hat all the time.
Woo, big time. You can't wear a hat everywhere you go, right? Man.
Oh man.
All right. So fantasy question number 1 today.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last pick of the draft. It's your last round, and let's just say that you've got your kicker and you got your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not so. A lot of times that's what we do, right? We wait till the last draft pick to take the kicker, whatever's left over. But let's say you got a choice, and both Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips are on the board. I don't know if that'll happen, but let's just say it is. It's happening. Kyle Phillips, Traylon Burks. From a fantasy perspective.
What kind of league is it, though?
It's a PPR league.
Okay.
It's a PPR league. That's going to be the nugget. Because Kyle Phillips looks like a guy that could catch a few passes here. Mm-hmm. Which one are you taking?
Man, that's a tough one. But if I'm going by what the Titans have done over the years, and how this offense has gone, this preseason and whatnot, I'm picking Kyle Phillips. Not to say that Traylon Burke won't catch passes, but I think this is going to be an inside-out operation.
I disagree.
Meaning tight end, three, slot guy, and then the guys on the outside. I don't think they are going to work outside to in because Tannehill feel comfortable with them. And when a quarterback, there's nothing like a quarterback feeling. There's nothing better when a quarterback feels confident in you, that he drops back and you're the first guy. He has his read, but he knows that you're right there where you're supposed to be. And if this kid continues to catch the football and continues to impress this team, he's going to be, especially on third down, he's going to be a chain mover for them.
So you were intrigued enough with Phillips that you might take a flyer on him before you took Burks. All right, Nick, you disagree.
Yeah, I mean, rookie here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go really strongly with Burks. And here's why. I think, yes, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot for him to live up to, okay? Because everyone's thinking he's going to be the next A.J. Brown and this and that. But look, I think the big deal for me here is, yeah, he may not have looked the greatest at camp. He had the conditioning issue. I think he's going to prove the doubters wrong, man. I really think he's going to show up, and he may be someone in the slot on third down sometimes that will shock us. I think he's someone I would take in the late round if he's a hometown guy that's still on the board and I'm looking to add some more depth. He would definitely be maybe someone I put in my flex if there's someone on a bye week. So,
and the other thing to keep in mind would be, certainly, as we talked about, the PPR league is a factor, because if we feel like Phillips could get in there earlier, he might be catching more passes, even though he may not be a down-the-field guy. He's a move-the-chains guy. Burks, too, something to consider would be, is it a keeper league, right? If you could stash him, if you use him in the later rounds and you could save him at that round for 3 years, that's how a league I am in works. That's one worth considering, because even if it doesn't happen day one or even season one for Treylon Burks, maybe it hits later in the season or even in the next year, and you've got a keeper worth holding on to.
Yeah, but if that is indeed the case, then Kyle Phillips has built up 5-6 games of just catching the ball. This team, it seems to me, when they let A.J. Brown go, they traded him away. This team, to me, wants to build inside out. I could be completely wrong on this, but I think this team wants to build inside out. They don't think they need this dynamic receiver on the outside. As long as they have Derrick Henry in the backfield, they want to condense the field somewhat. They want to play smash mouth football, play action, hit those those in routes, hit those tight ends and those slot guys. That's why I said this team is. I would be really surprised if those guys on the outside caught more than 75, 80 balls. I would be like, wow.
That would be a wow.
It would be a wow, because to me, not to say that they can't.
Historically, that just doesn't happen.
Historically on this team, it just, you had your outliers, but, historically this team is not,
We had that one day on the show where we went through the history of the wide receivers. Yeah. It's really telling how many times a guy might have led the team among wide receivers with about 500 or 600 yards and maybe 50 catches at the tops. All right, question number 2. All right, we did it yesterday with the wide receivers. I'm going to ask you guys to rank your top 3 quarterbacks on your draft board. Okay, here are some candidates. Just to get the wheels turning here, you can certainly go off the board. There's a lot of choices here. I think it's hard to rank these guys. And also how you score in your fantasy league is important, with rushing yards by a quarterback and stuff like that. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow. Those are just some guys to get you started. I would think your top 3 is going to come from that list in some form. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady. Are you still going to go there? Joe Burrow, the up-and-comer. Who are your top 3 quarterbacks on your draft board?
Oh, boy. For me, it would be Josh first.
Josh Allen first.
Josh Allen first. Patrick Mahomes.
You still go with Patrick Mahomes number 2?
I'm still going with Patrick Mahomes. I don't care.
But Allen over Mahomes, because that's,
I
think
Allen
the last couple years, Mahomes would probably be the consensus number 1.
I think Allen, his ability to get outside the pocket and run. Now he doesn't have it doesn't seem like he got the throwing angles like Mahomes, but who does? But the third for me, and listen, you can put these in any order you want to. It's not specifically like I'm taking him over him. But that third one is tough because it's either Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Is it number 3?
Yeah, number 3. It's just like a.
So yeah, I didn't even mention Aaron Rodgers, but obviously he's a guy.
I'm going Tom because listen, Aaron to me is probably the best quarterback ever. It's just the talent he has, and I would probably put Patrick Mahomes is second.
Okay,
from a talent standpoint. Aaron Rodgers is there. But Tom Brady is just, I mean, there's nothing you can say to diminish his game. What, he can't run the football? That's about it. But there's nothing that Tom Brady hasn't done and can't do. No matter if he's 48 years old.
All right.
He never stops.
Now we're going to go to the rookie here in Nick. And Nick, I'm seeing a same trend that we saw yesterday. Derek likes the veterans. He likes the veterans. He's much more partial. He's going to give the benefit of the doubt to the older guys.
They've done it. They continue to do it.
That's their comfort zone in the fantasy. All right, but Nick, are you going with the youth movement here? I didn't hear Herbert on the list there.
Yeah.
He didn't have Herbert in the top 3.
Which amazes me, D-Mase, because come on, you definitely love having your pass-heavy quarterbacks knowing you.
Of course.
But, okay, yeah, I am going younger, and that's just kind of the trend here. But I think you can somewhat agree with me, but my number 1 is Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to move the ball downfield, okay? He's someone that's going to give you great upside, all right? Now, I'm not going to draft him super high, but if I start seeing some quarterbacks fall and he's there, he's my number 1. Then, yes, this is where it gets younger. Joe Burrow, okay? He is someone that is very...
he did have the appendix out there, which you have had happen, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, but he
did miss some time.
Tough.
That's just but that's not a surgery where you sit out forever.
Right. He should be. He should be fine.
But yeah, I mean,
he missed some of the sharpness, maybe. We'll see.
We talked about that a few weeks ago. I think it was hey, do you pick him over this guy because of the surgery? Or I think you asked it just in general because of the surgery. But I still take him. He is highly valued. Great asset to have on your team. Can't go wrong with him. Then my number 3 is Herbert. Herbert is going to probably have a much better season. He's probably going to throw more touchdown passes. And not to mention, he breaks out of the pocket, and he can get you some good first downs and rushing yards. Kind of like a Josh Allen, but runs more than Josh Allen.
The sprinkling.
Yeah. So he's someone I would really look at, and he may be higher on my list if he's still up there. He may be above Josh Allen for me if other teams are taking quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Herbert's really, really good, and he's a safe pick.
It's hard to overlook Allen because of the way he does run the ball. He's going to get you points as a runner.
He was second on the team in rushing yards, wasn't he, last year?
He actually led the team at some point.
Yeah,
I think.
Grief. All right, speaking of rushing, okay, we got the last one for the day. Green Bay. Now, I noticed I've seen some kind of edgy press conferences. They don't like how it's going right now. It hasn't been a great preseason for Green Bay. Matt LaFleur and company, they've dropped a bunch of passes. But what about the Green Bay running game? You've got 2 guys, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It's kind of a shared backfield. Mm-hmm. Which one would you prefer there? And there's a little report here. I'm looking at Rob Domofsky, who's been covered. We've had him on the show many times. He said the team expects both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to be so involved in the passing game. There is talk of both. How about this? Both joining the 50-catch club. See, this is a new thing because Aaron Rodgers classically elevates all the wide receivers, but no Devontae Adams. So will they be throwing to the running backs more?
There could be a possibility. I don't think you go wrong with either running back as long as both stay healthy. I know Aaron Jones missed a game or 2 last season, if I
think you're right.
But I don't think you go wrong with either because I think they're going to get right around the same amount of opportunities to have a an impact positively on the game. So whether you take Dillon or Jones, I don't think you're going to go wrong. It just depends on who they're playing. And one guy may get, for that particular week, one guy may get more carries than the other, or he may catch, a couple of more passes out the backfield than the other does. So, I guess whoever's left on the board, you won't go wrong.
It's almost like you can flip a coin. It's so interesting. They almost had exactly the same numbers last year, around 800 yards rushing and about 300-plus receiving. So it is hard to separate them. So do you have a preference, Nick, one or the other?
Yeah, I really think A.J. Dillon stands out to me. I think Dillon is someone they're going to go to more often, and it's going to probably look a lot different this season. Yeah, they probably had near to the same attempts, sure, last season, but I think one guy is going to have to break away from the other for them to work well this season. And it's going to be a good 1A and 1B. So that's who I would go with. I would go with A.J. Dillon, honestly, here.
Okay, that's something to watch for. And will they catch even more passes than they did last year? Will they both get 50 or more catches? Aaron Jones did have 52 last year. A.J. Dillon, not quite as many. But that's something to watch for in your fantasy league. All right, those are your fantasy football questions of the day. When we come back, we'll have our trivia question of the day. We've got the giveaway coming up. We'll tell you the details in just a moment. But get your thinking cap on, because if you love trivia, we got a big event coming up on Wednesday night as well. That's tomorrow night. It's here. The trivia night at Boom Baz is going to happen tomorrow night. So get your squad together. We'll give you a little taste of it when we come back. Win a prize right now. If you want to call in and get ready, 615-737-1025. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 1025 The Game.
If you're on the road, there's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 1025 The Game.
And he has added players that do fit.
What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 1063 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have two choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 1063 now and add it as a favorite.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Those mostly sunny skies continuing for the remainder of our afternoon with highs in the upper 80s. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies, and we return to that muggy condition that we've seen the past several nights with lows in the 60s. For Fox 17, I'm Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Save big this Labor Day at Electronic Express. Get a Samsung 65-inch 4K TV for only $599 or a Whirlpool 4-piece kitchen package for just $27.99. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on an Acer gaming laptop for just $699 or a Google Nest Hub for only $54. Shop in-store or online with up to 36 months free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Kick off week one with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with the promo code JGM to get in on all the action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long. Tons of great bets to make for week one, and I think right now everybody feels pretty good about the Titans against the Giants. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with the promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year,
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
All right, it is that time. We've been putting our heads together, our committee here, to get with today's Titans training camp trivia. We've been doing this on a daily basis the last couple weeks, giving away some interesting prizes. And today's prize, Panic at the Disco. No, that's not a headline. That is a band. I have heard they got some good songs. I actually know Panic at the Disco. My kids do. That's coming up at Bridgestone Arena on October 8th, so a good show. Panic at the Disco. So if you want to jump in, 615-737-1025. So if you think you know your trivia, step up to the plate today. You've got to call today, and this is how we've been doing it. And I know some texters are not happy about this, but you cannot text in the answer. You've got to call in and be the first to get it right. All right. This one, I think, if you know your history, this is going to jump in, and it's going to be a matter of getting to the phone line quick here. When Jeff Fisher took over the Houston Oilers, and I can remember this happening. It was a bad Oilers team against a bad Giants team on Monday night. Jeff Fisher was named the interim coach during the 1994 season. This is before Derek Mason became a Tennessee Oiler / Tennessee Titan. But who did Jeff Fisher take over for as the head coach of, at the time, the Houston Oilers, who soon would become the Tennessee Titans? Who did Jeff Fisher take over for? 615-737-1025. Do you know the answer, Derek? This is before your time. You were a college player.
Who did Jeff take over for?
Who did he take over for?
I think
you cannot say the answer, and you cannot win.
I do know the answer.
And don't panic at the disco. It seems like good advice.
I'm thinking, God, I think I know who it is.
Jeff Fisher took over in 1994 and coached all the way up through 2010. 615-737-1025. Step up to the plate. Call 615-737-1025, and you will win tickets to see Panic at the Disco.
I just sent it to you. I don't know.
Wait,
is that the right? Yeah, is that the right answer?
You are correct. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Now, the first wave of callers is coming in here, so I feel like we're going to have a correct answer here before I give this hint, but I'm going to throw a hint out there.
No, don't throw a hint just yet.
No?
No.
hints.
Let them get
Okay.
no. They are Titan fans. They should know this answer.
They should know this answer.
Yeah, they Titan fans. They make them work for it, Willie. You're too nice sometimes.
Okay.
Man. You keep giving them bits and pieces. No, let them work for it.
I don't know why I remember this game, but I just it was a game in which the Oilers had sort of crumbled from their days with Warren Moon and the run and shoot and those teams that were always good for about 6 or 7 straight years, always in the mix but could never put it all together and make a great playoff run. They would always lose to John Elway, or of course they had the nightmare game in Buffalo,
yes,
where they lost the big lead. But this was the coach of those teams, and then it had crumbled, and that's when Jeff Fisher took over. They had a Monday night game it was in the Astrodome against the Giants, who also had collapsed. This was the post Bill Parcells Giants, and there was two teams trying to rebuild. Jeff Fisher, that's the first time I think I'd ever heard of Jeff Fisher. Do we have the winner? Do we have a correct answer?
I thought we were going on air, Willie.
Oh, we're going on air. See, I don't have the call screen. Okay, tell me who's up. Who's up first?
We got Jacob up if you want to start off with him.
Okay, let's start off with Jacob. All right, he's in. Jacob, do you know who was the coach of the Oilers before Jeff Fisher?
Was it Jack Party?
Did you say Jack Party?
Yeah,
That's how they say it down here in Tennessee. A party. Party on. Pardee. Jack Pardee is the answer. We'll give it to you.
Yes. There you go.
Good stuff. Okay, Jacob, are you a Panic at the Disco fan?
I am.
All right. Well, this works out well for you. See, you had to know a little history. This is way back in 1994. I don't think Panic at the Disco was a big band on the scene at that time. They're kind of a younger band.
Well,
Jacob, good versatility. Congratulations.
Yes. Enjoy the concert.
All right. I apologize, Dick. I didn't see. We had the call screener go kaput on us here in the studio, but Jacob waited patiently. First up, scores. Nice job.
Jack Pardee.
Jack Pardee. Mm-hmm. Jack Pardee was actually
Jack Party.
Jack Pardee. He actually was a very good player back in the day, Jack Pardee. But he coached for a long time in the league. I'm trying to look at his playing history. I think he played for that team that lost to the Dolphins. I'd have to go back. Player register. Let's take a look at this. He played on the team that lost. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button here. But he played for the team, I think, that lost to the Dolphins. That was the undefeated team back in the day. The 72 Dolphins. So Jack Pardee has quite the history in pro football there. Still going strong, 76 years of age as I look at his register there. But he gave way to Jeff Fisher, and then Jeff Fisher was a staple for decades.
94 to what?
2010.
2010.
Yeah. So you played for him, played against him.
Played for him, played against him. There you go.
Yeah. All right. A couple of things that have gone down today. Here's one story that we have not touched on that I thought was really interesting, Derek. When the NHL, and by the way, at 1 o'clock, we're going to go over to Williamsport and check in on the Nolensville team. What an unbelievable drama. In fact, we've got the Little League World Series going on today. But Nolensville has reached the U.S. semifinal. They're one win away from getting to the final. That would really be something. They're going to have a tough test tomorrow, but they are 3-0. They won an extra inning game, and we're going to talk to their third base coach coming up at 1 o'clock. Evan Satnoff, and he has a son that has been playing great ball. So that's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We'll also check in on Vanderbilt as they get ready for their opener in Hawaii this week. Kevin Ingram is going to join us during the 1 o'clock hour. But on the hockey front, I was one that was raising my hand going crazy when Max Pacioretty was rumored to be on the trade block right as free agency started. Max Pacioretty, a really good veteran scorer. Well, what happened was on the first day of free agency, he was traded by the Vegas Golden Knights to Carolina for basically nothing. They gave him away because they were up against the salary cap, Vegas was, and they had to clear some space. So they basically just said, here, you can have him. I was going crazy because I thought, hey, that might be a really good pickup for the Predators. He's got 1 year left on his contract. It was around $7 million. But what has happened? Max Pacioretty just the other day got injured. He is out for 6 months. He is going to have to undergo surgery. So Carolina, Nick, made not only that move, they had to report that he is out. So that means he's going to go on the long-term IR, I'm sure. But they picked up another veteran to replace him.
They did. They got Stastny, and I think that's a big pickup for them, and it's just for 1 year. So that's someone that's going to replace them, and Paul Stastny is a good bottom six forward for that club.
No question. And then here is this, and I feel like I'm in a time warp here, Derek. Alabama gives Nick Saban extension and raise. I feel like I see this every year.
I thought he just got an extension last year. I could be
can't
wrong.
Keep up. I can't. Yeah. How many times do you think they have reworked his contract since he's been at Alabama? But this is like an 8-year extension?
Yeah, 8-year extension.
What year are we in now, 2060?
I don't know. I mean, because I'm sure he got an extension a few years ago. Because I remember it might have been right before Jimbo's or Kirby's. It was before one of those big contracts. He got an extension right before or either right after. And then obviously Kirby gets this huge extension and this huge contract. And then coincidentally, a couple of months later, Nick Saban gets more money than him.
Yeah, so, well, hey, if Kirby gets this, I'm worth this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I can see it. Well, it's interesting how it's good to be the coaches when it comes to getting paid. It's not an easy job. You got to deal with a lot of stuff, but they do get paid.
Here's the deal. Everybody's getting paid now. Everybody. No longer can we sit here and say, "Oh, the coach is getting paid, but the player's not." Well, these players are getting money too now. They ain't getting paid. Coaching money, but some guys are getting, according to speculation, some guys are getting millions.
No doubt about it. All right, so congratulations to our winner. We will have the trivia night tomorrow at Boombaz. Go to starsnashville.org. If you have a trivia team, you'd like to do these, if you ever go to your local pub, do a little trivia night, or you just happen to stumble upon a place that's doing trivia, if you like that kind of thing, tomorrow we're going to be raising money for Stars. So go to starsnashville.org/trivia, and you'll see it's $100 per team. So it's basically $25 a person, $2 beers, free appetizer for each team, and you try to win big prizes, really, really good prizes, and all of the money goes to Stars. So that'll be over on the east side at Boombaz East tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. starsnashville.org is the website. All right, we're going to Williamsport in just a moment here on 102.5 The Game.
You watch The Game.
Phillips Westbrook from the left circle.
We talk The Game.
You can't just pick up one guy and be competitive in the playoffs.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Jewelry business, it's in my blood. I've been doing it all my life, and it's my passion.
Meet Daniel Sabalas, a third-generation jeweler at Genesis Diamonds.
This line of work, it's all about honesty and trust. It's about building relationships.
And that's what drew Daniel to Genesis, where it's all about education, transparency, and respect for each customer.
It's based on a family business mentality, and that's how we are. We're here to educate, to guide you, and we make it very easy. So we really go out of our way to educate customers in the right way. There's no stress level, there's no tension. The customer can feel that.
All this while providing the guaranteed best value price.
I've never seen a company that has the best price like this that I've seen anywhere. We are a powerhouse of diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds. No commission salespeople, no pricing games, no risk, no pressure, no cutting corners.
Genesis Diamonds is going to give you the best price, best quality, guaranteed, no matter what.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
This should be 8 by 7.
When it comes to closets, Janina's home organization business runs tip-top tidy.
Is the schedule right? I'm going to need help.
But she needs to reorganize and find a new assistant.
I know, it's your last week, but can you make sure the Hansen pantry's wrapped?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stilling and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick.
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
And former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Final hour of the show here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason here with you, and we've got a fun hour planned for you here down the stretch. And, of course, Jared and Stillman and company coming your way starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We've talked a lot of Titans today. We've talked a lot of NFL, but one of the things going on the field right now that has been really, really fascinating to watch, as it is every year, is the Little League World Series. And our team from our listening area, the Nolensville Little League, back for a second straight year, and they are 3-0, and they've made their way to the semifinals of the U.S. bracket. And they had an exciting win yesterday against Indiana. We had Ingle Martin on late last week. His son Wright has played for the team. We had Randy Huth on, their head coach. Randy Huth, of course, during the regional finals in Georgia. So we want to keep the flow going. And so today we've got the third base coach and one of the players on the line with us. Evan Satinoff is the third base coach. His son William has played a great tournament so far as the shortstop, does a little bit of everything. And, boy, I wonder how they're trying to relax today as they move forward. But let's start with Evan. Coach Satinoff, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon.
Hey, Willie, thanks so much for having us. We appreciate the time.
First of all, I want to know how you guys are recovering yesterday, because it was a nail-biter yesterday. Man, I cannot think of that. That's the beauty of baseball, right? You guys were on the verge of winning, you're on the verge of losing, and then you certainly found a way to pull it off.
Yeah, it was such an exciting game. I was talking to some of the parents after the game, and they were saying how nervous they were in the stands, and I said, you really shouldn't be nervous. This is just Little League baseball, and I'll tell you, our kids were so composed on that field, especially going into that last inning into the seventh. And today has just been a really relaxing day. We let the kids sleep in a little bit until about 9 o'clock. Usually wake-up calls anywhere from as early as 7 to about 8 o'clock. And every morning here at Williamsport, they feed us great meals, both breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we decided to kind of go off campus and made a run to McDonald's and got the kids some Egg McMuffins and some McGriddles, and now they're just relaxing until later today when we'll have a practice and get back to it.
For those that didn't see the game yesterday, they were playing Indiana. Indiana had a real lengthy, long kid who threw very, very hard, and Nashville tied the game fairly. They took a 2-1 lead. It was tied in the bottom of the sixth. And, Evan, this is what I want to ask you about. Indiana loads the bases with no outs and the score tied, and you guys managed to get out of it and move on to extra innings. But, man, you talk about trying to keep your cool under pressure. That was big time.
Yeah, it was. First off, you got to tip your hat to T-Rex, Trent McNeil. He threw just one heck of a game. So composed. He's been like this the entire year for us. And then Randy, made the decision with, of course, talking to myself and Mark Carter, saying, let's go with our veteran. And putting Jack in that position, he really stepped up, threw strikes, had a base hit that they tied it with. And then he just, bared down and struck at the next two. And then fortunately jammed the guy, the left-handed hitter hit that little floater over our third baseman's head. And William was at the right spot at the right time and just had good instincts, made the dive, and was able to bring us in.
Well, that's what I want to ask William about. I'm going to bring in the shortstop, William Satinoff, 2 outs, game tied at 2, bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th. So if this ball drops, then Indiana's going to win the game. But, William, take me through that play because you were in the right, as your dad said, right place, right time, but you got to make that play. How much fun was that to celebrate after you came up with that one?
That was amazing, celebrate after that. And to save the game, that was really big. I was kind of shading over there. I knew he'd be late on Jack. He wasn't on time. So I kind of stayed over there, made that play, and we had all the momentum going into the 7th.
Well, and you guys were able to score 3 runs right after that, so it did feel like you could build on that energy, right? So you came in with a lot of positivity, and you guys just took it right up to the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 7th inning, part of our motto is obviously we believe. That's been from day one, but it really starts with all the positive energy and bringing that energy from defense onto offense. And again, William starting it off, getting on base, and Jack coming through, and then the trickle-down effect with, I think, Drew was up and Bo, and then we came up with 3 runs and just closed the hatchet. And it was, the bottom line, it comes down to a team victory. Everyone on our team is a contributor, whether you're a starter, whether you come off the bench and pinch hit, pinch run, play defense. Everyone has a role on this team, and that's been the philosophy since day one.
Now, William, I know you're having a good time there, but what has been the funnest part for you there at the Little League World Series?
I would say hanging out with the international teams and getting to talk to them. And on the MLB Classic Day, I talked to Rafael Devers for like 20 minutes just about how he's doing and about the MLB.
Now, I saw this, William. I think you've got some Florida roots, which I do as well. But so you're a Rays fan. So how did it feel like talking to the Red Sox? I mean, are you a little bit more Red Sox now?
No, not at all.
Did you explain that to Rafael? I'm sure he understands.
Yes. I talked to him about just how the Rays are better and how Wander Franco's better than Bogart.
Well, you got to tell it like it is, right? That was maybe they'll battle again someday in the playoffs. That was quite exciting last year. But, William, I've noticed, too, I want to ask you your training because I've watched you at shortstop. You have really good mechanics. You've made some really nice plays. You got a bright future. I know you want to keep working hard on this. But where did you learn how to play? What were some of the things that were important to you learning how to play this game?
Well, I'll shout out my brother Jack. I think he's helped me a lot. Usually, like every 3 times a week, we go outside. He gives me grounders. I give him grounders. We work on short hops. I think, and my dad too. We just work on that and just do grounders every once in a while.
We're talking to Evan Satinoff. He's the third base coach on the Nolensville Little League team that's playing in the Little League World Series right now, and his son William, who's playing shortstop and one of the members of the team. Evan, I want to ask you about the dynamic of being the third base coach and having the mic on at all times because, it's an emotional game. There's so many details you're looking at, especially in those tight situations there. Are you conscious of the fact that you're mic'd up?
I think the first time they mic'd me up, last year when we were here, I coached first, and they didn't mic up the first base coach. So when they said you're getting mic'd, I had to do some thinking on the words I'm going to be using and just, how emotional you might be able to get. But it all boils down, guys, to just giving positive energy and confidence to those kids, but also giving them, some instruction as well. I've taught myself numerous times, if I see someone have a bad at-bat or some bad body language or maybe not hustling, to just step over, especially when they're coming into the dugout, and just try to teach them lessons, not just lessons on the field, but life lessons as well. So I am conscious, but it was probably the first game I was more conscious than anything. Now you just go with the flow and just talk like I would normally talk on the field.
Now, William, Willy's going to ask all the serious questions and the technical questions about baseball. That's his thing. But I'm going to ask the fun questions. We always see the kids sliding down a hill on television. Did he get an opportunity to slide down a hill?
I've done that once this year, and last year I did it with all the mud while it was raining. We jumped really high and go into the mud. So I've done like twice.
So what is the best? Is it better, William, to do like the group slide, or is it the single slide that's the best? How do you get the most speed?
The single. But you got to get a push by someone.
So you want to get a boost from somebody
So
behind
it's still
to
a
build some
team.
speed.
It's still a team effort.
Yes.
There we go.
It's definitely team effort. We haven't done the group slide yet because we're still playing and we want to make sure no one gets injured. So hopefully we'll be doing the group slide Sunday, late afternoon when this thing is done.
Very good. I did see too. I saw Alex Cora wipe out. He did not have the right technique when he went down the hill. He overslid and went off the end of the cardboard there. So he had to learn, and he got the Red Sox jersey all dirty as a result.
Yeah, there were a number of players on that came for I forget what game it was, but before the MLB Classic game, a number of players, and Alex Cora being the manager of the Red Sox, slid down that hill, and then they sat with us, and there were so many players filled with mud and just grass on the back of their pants and shirts. But it certainly takes a skill to get down there without falling.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a lot of fun. So, guys, before we let you go, I want to wish you luck the rest of the tournament here, regardless of what happens. But do you guys have a thought of your next game? You play Hawaii. Obviously, you guys have seen them play. They look really, really good. So what's the game plan tomorrow?
Well, Hawaii has been a dominant team so far in the tournament, and all eyes are on this team. They have legit pitching, great hitting. They've hit a number of home runs. We're definitely the underdogs, and we'll take that. I go back to what Coach Randy has kind of used as our motto, and it's "We believe." And we're really making sure that our kids do not get intimidated and believe that we could take Hawaii. And just one pitch at a time, one at-bat at a time, one inning at a time. And if we have our A game on, which we think we will be, I think we will stick with Hawaii and come out with a positive outcome.
Well, we're really looking forward to that. And I just want to let you guys know it's been a pleasure watching you guys. We're all on the bandwagon back here in Nashville, and you guys have represented so well in not only the way you guys are playing well on the field, but how you guys carry yourselves. So be proud of that, and know we're behind you.
Well, we thank you guys, and the support, not just in Nolensville especially, but the greater Middle Tennessee area and the state, and even the whole Southeast. It has been unbelievable. We could feel all the energy from back home, and we just want to thank you guys and the rest of the community for giving us the support, and look forward to seeing everyone home.
All right, guys. Good luck tomorrow. William, thanks for joining us, too. Good luck. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Evan Satinoff. He's the third base coach. William, the shortstop for the Nolensville Little League World Series team in action tomorrow against Hawaii. Hawaii's awfully good. They will be the underdog, but they're going to give it a great go tomorrow. That's a fun team to watch, that Nolensville club, and they'll have a lot of supporters here. It'll be at 2 o'clock tomorrow on Wednesday afternoon. We'll be keeping our eyes on that one for sure. Stay tuned. More coming on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase here on 102.5 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. We all know that you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day. So with that in mind, we're discounting all of our white vehicles. Well, maybe we should just discount the lighter colors that are close to white too, and maybe the red and blue ones since we celebrate this in America. Okay, fine. I'll discount all the cars, starting right now. On top of that, we want to celebrate all of your hard work with the most American lunch we can think of. Hot dogs. Hot dogs all day on Labor Day. So come kick your feet up, get a new car of any color, and enjoy a hot dog. You can even shop online for a new car with Newton FastPass. But you'll have to make your own hot dogs that way. Sorry. Visit NewtonFortSouth.com to learn more.
Hey everybody, Big Joe here for Apple Collision Centers. And you know I'm always on the go, but the distraction that an automobile accident causes could even slow my pace down to a stop. But my friend and CEO of Apple Collision Centers, Stan Harrison, has a plan to get you and I back on the road and fast.
We at Apple Collision Centers know you deserve the best quality service. We always recommend original equipment parts, and we use only the best Sherwin-Williams finishes. 3 convenient locations, Hendersonville, Gallatin, and Oak Hickory. And you can always visit us online for your estimate needs at applecollisioncenters.com.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. We are the go-to spot in Nashville for the best old-fashioned, a nice relaxing cigar, and lots of high-end spirits and wine. Are cigars not your thing? No problem. We have the best ventilation system in the industry that provides a fresh, clean atmosphere for you and your friends. We are here to provide you a trendy, upscale experience in the heart of downtown. Check us out at 508 Church Street. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars. Luxury redefined.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
I love this show. Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
You were in the right, as your dad said, right place, right time, but you got to make that play. How much fun was that to celebrate after you came up with that one?
That was amazing. Celebrate after that. And to save the game, that was really big. I was kind of shading over there. I knew he'd be late on Jack. He wasn't on time. So I kind of stayed over there, made that play, and we had all the momentum going into the 7th.
Fun interview. The youngsters, 12 years. I mean, he's interesting. We talked about this earlier. William Satinoff was fortunate enough to play on the team last year that also made it to Williamsport. So a rare opportunity to go back-to-back years to the Little League World Series. So they jokingly call him the veteran at 12 years old. But he sounds like a veteran. He knows how to answer the questions from the media there.
He's polished. He's ready.
I like that.
He's ready.
And still you can tell he's just having fun. That's really what it's all about. You want to have that balance. We had a great talk with Ingle Martin about that part of it where, it's easy to get caught so much in the spotlight. I'm on TV. ESPN's watching. We got all these announcers asking me questions, and you want to keep perspective, right? At the same time, you're just a kid. You're gonna have good times, bad times. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have great moments like he had yesterday. You just want to enjoy it all and just be a kid.
Sports for kids, and this is before they enter high school, even high school, I think at times. But sports for kids should be like a educational field day in a sense. Like we're having fun, but we're getting taught how to play the game.
Yeah.
It's like, let's have fun. Yes, we want to win, but let's have fun doing this, because my thing is, if a kid can't have fun doing it at this age, he might not want to do it later.
Yeah. I think that's what's so important, is to make sure that you end the season disappointed that the season's ending.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You don't want to have that feeling of, oh, thank goodness season's over, man. Because you want to have them that enthusiasm of looking forward to the season. That's why I think it's so important to have some different things that you do, different sports that you play.
Exactly.
You don't. I think right now you see. I mean, here we are in mid-August, late August, and they're finishing up their 12-year-old season. For a lot of the kids, there will be a lot of 12-year-olds that play fall baseball that starts in another couple weeks. So I hope that these kids here playing for this team take a little break.
Exactly.
Play a little football, play a little.
Do something else.
Yeah. Play a different fall sport. Give yourself, especially at that age. It's one thing if you're maybe that one sport is going to be it for you. Maybe when you're 16, 17, maybe you start locking in on one,
that one or two
start
sports,
narrowing it down. But I just think it's very, very valuable to try different things. Also, you may not know what your best sport is when you're 12.
Yeah, you probably don't.
Like, what did you play when you were 12?
Oh man,
what were your seasons like?
We did everything. I didn't,
because you
but
said
you gotta understand, I didn't play organized.
You didn't play football.
I didn't play organized anything. I mean, I ran track, but it was sort of for the school, for my middle school. Played basketball was for the middle school.
Yeah. Did you have a rec league team,
baseball.
Local team that you played for? Was that? Nah. There really wasn't that.
No, because here's the deal with us. I mean, I had enough brothers that we played amongst each other, and then we had people. We had like neighborhoods, like seriously
pickup games.
Our neighborhood games, which you would probably call them, league games, because no, there wasn't a league, but every street had its own team. Like we were Spring Garden, and then Maplewood had their own team, and Cedar Grove had their own team, and then another street had their own team. And we would, every week we would play at the high school, like each team. Like we had a schedule, like we're going to play this team, this team, this team. So that was my introduction.
You sort of made, so without like somebody organizing
exactly.
you sort of made your own schedule.
Yeah, because it costs money to do those things. So we found out, hey, listen, we can do this on our own.
Yeah.
We played tackle without any pads on. It was just, that's what we did. Or it was basketball. We had our own teams that we played and went around the neighborhood. So that was my introduction to sort of a little league.
I think that's one of the biggest lost arts of today is the ability for kids on their own to organize, even if it's not like you're saying, leagues between the different streets or neighborhoods.
Exactly.
But just pick it up, just calling each other up and saying, let's meet over here and let's have a pickup game.
Exactly. 10, 15 of us get together, and now we set up the teams and just go and play.
And the kids on their own working through what are the rules of the game. Like if you're playing on a field that has a certain thing, like what's the rule if the ball goes in the bushes over here? There's always stuff like that.
This was our rule, okay.
And the grown-ups can't screw it up.
Yeah, you can't, because we made the rules. They were our rules. So our rules was this, because we would play tackle football. No, we would play touch, like in the street, because the street was wider. It was just a regular block street. Nobody really drove down the street. And then if they did, you kind of moved out the way and then let the car go by. And then,
like Wayne's World.
Yeah, if the car saw you playing, they'd slow down and wait for you to finish that play, and then they'd go. Well, our thing was, okay, in the street, it was touch. But the minute you went to the grass, it's tackle. It's tackle football. So we had it was a touch in the street, but tackled on the grass. Okay. So if you didn't want to get tackled, don't go on the grass, because there was really no out of bounds. So for us, that's how we played.
You make up your own rules.
Exactly.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that if you watch the Little League World Series, they run a series of promos, and I like how they're doing it because it's cutting right to the chase. They have like the parents that are like, this is what not to do. Like a parent, the classic pose with the fingers through the chain link fence, like yelling through what are you doing? We practice this. Come on. We all have to fight that instinct as parents, but it's just such a simple message that's so hard for a lot of the parents sometimes, and that's just get out of the way.
That's why when I would go to my kid's game, DJ, when he did play, especially in high school. Now, I helped coach when he was in middle school, so I was always there on the field. But once he got into high school and he played, I always sat. I didn't even sit in the stands. I went and stood along the gate. And typically I started off by myself. That's the way I wanted it. Because I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to do anything. I just wanted to watch the game, And, my son didn't get in a lot, but I wanted to, if he did get in, I wanted to watch it. I wasn't going to yell, you need to do this, you need to do that. Excuse me. Play the game. And I'll talk to you after the game. I don't need to talk and yell and scream during the game. Why? You can't hear me, and if you do hear me, I'm distracting you. That's what parents don't understand. When you're yelling and screaming at your kid to do something, he or she are distracted. Especially basketball. That's the worst.
Oh, that is the worst.
When you're yelling at your kid and screaming at your kid on the court, he or she is losing all distraction. So my thing is just sit back and just watch. If they look at you, okay, but if not, just let them play.
And it makes perfect sense. And at the same time, I know
parents do it.
Even myself, like I fight the urge. Basketball, really, because you're right there.
You're right there.
You can, if you want, you can be sitting close to where you're in earshot, and you have to stop yourself.
Yeah. And
the younger your kids are, you have to train yourself. Like I have to admit, like I was probably a lot worse when my kids were 8, 9, as opposed to now because I'm more of a veteran.
Exactly.
Now I've been around the block. I know what's gonna first because it drives them crazy.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
They're looking at you, Dad. Just shut up. That was what they want to say. But just the look tells it all. They look over going, "What are you doing? Stop!"
I'm trying to
play. Like I'm trying to help you. You're right. I should be quiet.
Oh my goodness.
Well, good luck to that Nolensville team tomorrow. That's been a lot of fun. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk Commodores. Vanderbilt has their opening game this week in Hawaii. Kevin Ingram from the broadcast team will join us, and we'll just see how camp's been going for Clark Lee in the second year of his tenure at the helm. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more of Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Smashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. If you missed the latest from Robbie and Rex Road.
Darn it. Where the heck is that? Anyway, yeah. I did have a good conversation with Stonehouse. I went up to him, and he was on his phone. And I was like, looking at Twitter. He's like, yeah. Because of course.
He really was?
Oh, yeah. You have a night like that, and you are going to be checking out what people are saying about you on Twitter. Yeah, we had a good conversation. None of you can hear it right now. I apologize.
We'll look forward to that coming up a little bit later in the show. There is one thing, Joe, that we've not gotten to yet that I'm really interested in getting your thoughts on. And I'm going to come out with a Monday morning hot take for you. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Week 1 against the Giants, Nicholas Petit-Frere will be starting at right tackle for the Titans.
Tune in Robbie and Rex with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
This is a relationship, just like your relationship. Dating and getting married is awesome and fun, but having been married for 24 years, I can tell you it only gets better.
Meet Ward Herbert, manager at Genesis Diamonds, talking about the importance of having a long-term marriage with your spouse and your jeweler.
What's in the DNA here is relationship building. How can we be a part of your love story forever? It's your engagement ring, it's your wedding band, it's your anniversaries, it's gifts for your children, it's being a Genesis customer for life.
Genesis Diamonds, where it's never about making a sale, it's about making a hero.
The greatest joy I get is helping you find your perfect ring, helping you find your perfect diamond, and having you walk out with a huge smile on your face because you know she's going to love it and it's going to be something you can be proud of forever.
And Ward knows a thing or two about relationships as a marriage counselor and an ordained minister. He can provide a little extra added value.
I did a wedding ceremony for one of our customers 2 months ago. He did not have a minister at the last minute, and I performed his wedding ceremony for him.
Genesis Diamonds, going above and beyond for every customer.
Now you may kiss the bride.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willy, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Coming down the home stretch here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick and Derek Mason here with you. And as we promised you earlier, we're going to talk a little bit of Vanderbilt football here. It's opening week. We actually have college football games this week. It's exciting. So no more weekends without football from now until February?
Yeah.
Late February, I guess is the way it goes if you count the Pro Bowl or whatever that is.
No, nobody really counts that.
No, I don't either. Okay. Let's talk to Kevin Ingram. He is with the Vanderbilt broadcast team, and he is in a very envious position. He is heading to Hawaii. All right, so Kevin, how many trips to Hawaii is this for you?
Willie, this will be 2 trips to Hawaii for me. I made 0 trips to Hawaii in my first 50 years, and then between December and now, this will be number 2, and this will be actually number 3 for Vanderbilt teams. Basketball went back around Christmas, baseball went back in the spring, and now football going to start off the season here.
Okay, so you're now a veteran of the islands. So what if anybody's going and making the trip out there, like what do they need to know? I've been there one time, and that was late 90s when I was helping out with the Vanderbilt basketball team doing its color. I had a tremendous experience out there, but it is such a great place, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, wouldn't Derek Mason have some perspective on this, too, with the Pro Bowl trip that he made out there?
Yeah, I've been there several times, and then as a player rep, I've been there 4 times, I believe. So
you are a veteran of the islands.
Altogether, yeah, Maui, obviously Honolulu, but Maui as well. So.
Yeah, they don't play in that stadium where you played in those Pro Bowls out there anymore.
Oh, wow.
They're good. This game is actually going to be on campus in a very small stadium. It's like a high school type stadium. So, yeah, the old the old stadium where they played the Pro Bowl for all those years, it's not in very good shape anymore. We drove by there back in December when we were out there. But what we did that was fun back in December, I took my wife and son, and we rented a car and just drove all over the island of Oahu. It was beautiful, unbelievable. Honolulu is great. Waikiki Beach is, the classic beach. But if you get out and drive around the island, some of the things we saw were just amazing. It's like each turn you go around is more beautiful than the last one. And we went up to the North Shore and saw like the big waves where they have the big surfing contest. And it's just spectacular to drive around that place.
Yeah, you just get in your car and drive, and you really can't go wrong. You're going to see a lot of really cool things, even if you have no idea where you're going, which was the case for me when I did that. So, Kevin, how is Clark Lee balancing, just the coolness of getting out there and going on a trip like this, but also you're starting a season and this is a big game?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. He's talked about that some, and even just hearing some of his comments with the players toward the end of last week that, hey, yeah, we're going to go and it's going to be a fun trip, but we're going out there for a reason. That's to win a football game. I think going out there early probably helps. The team went out there on Sunday. You kind of settle in, and you have some practice this week, and you do your game week in Hawaii, which it's basically like a bowl trip to start off the season. So I think a whole lot of thought has been put into how we want to do this, how you want to do this trip, and handle everything as far as the players getting the experience of going to Hawaii, but also getting the experience of winning a football game and starting off the season on a positive note.
So what are the expectations of this football team this year? Because obviously Clark Lee going into his second year, obviously the first year was a struggle, but this second year now he's got an opportunity to coach this team. That they understand exactly what he wants, and I'm sure they bought into the culture that he has there at Vanderbilt now. So what are the expectations?
Yeah, Derek, I think that's an interesting question because it's one of those things where this team can be much improved this season, and maybe you don't even notice it in the wins and losses because the SEC is so difficult. But I think the expectation is to take a step forward and show progress and win some more games and just have a little more positive feeling about your season. 2 wins last year, and you had a couple near misses in the SEC. The game at South Carolina felt like it got away at the end, and the one against Missouri at home felt like one that might have been there. But, yeah, I think for Clark Lee and for this program, just tangible signs of progress are what they're looking for this year. And, you want to win now. There's no question about it. But it's also about establishing that identity and the culture of the program that you talked about. And there's a statement that the players, put forward last year that had a few points to it as to what they're trying to accomplish and how they go about it. And I think they're trying to stay very true to those things. But, yeah, just showing progress this year. And one thing you notice, you go out to practice, there's a lot more players and there's a lot of competition in some of those spots. And you see some guys who are veteran players being pushed for their starting jobs. And you look at the depth chart that came out today, and some of that's reflected. So, yeah, I think to kind of see what the season looks like as we go forward is going to be really interesting this year.
Well, the first few games set up for, obviously before they get into SEC play, there's first, 3-4 games really sets up for them to go into the SEC season with possibly, a winning record. So that has to be, and I understand, hey, listen, it's only a schedule right now, and things can change once you get into actually playing. But it does set up for this team to kind of build some momentum as they go into SEC play.
Yeah, you hope so. You start off here with Hawaii, and there are going to be a lot of unknowns about that team. They have a first-year coach, and they had a lot of roster turnover from last year to this year. But the trip is sort of part of playing the game for this season opener coming up Saturday. You come home, you play Eli, and you figure that's a game that you got to get done. Wake Forest is going to be really good. They were terrific in the ACC last year. I know they've had a significant injury or two, but still that's going to be a really difficult game. And then go up to play Northern Illinois. It's part of this non-conference schedule of 4 games before you jump into the SEC. So you do feel like you have a chance to get off to a good start and win some football games and have some momentum before you play Alabama to start off SEC play in the middle of September.
Yeah, it gets real in a hurry there as soon as you start league play.
Yeah, it gets very real with that trip down to Tuscaloosa, no doubt about it.
Kevin Ingram is with us. So, Kevin, one of the things that Clark Lee did, he named Mike Wright the starter at the end of the spring. We're all curious to see what he looks like after another year under the belt. He's got that great makeup. He's just one of those infectious personalities you want to see do well. And I'm just curious how much he's developed with his overall skills. We know he can run the ball. He's very elusive. That's going to be there. And can he take it to another level as a passer?
Yeah, well, I think that's a big question with Mike. And you look at the depth chart that came out today, A.J. Swan, the freshman, is listed as the number 2, and Ken Seals is the number 3, which is very interesting. But for Mike, the wheels are what's going to make him successful. But you got to be able to throw the ball enough to keep people honest. He's made some good throws during camp. You want to see that part of his game grow. Obviously, A.J. Swan and Ken Seals, they have the big arms, and they're more of your classic drop-back quarterbacks. But, man, Mike, you talk about the makeup. There's something about that guy. If you're around him any length of time at all, you can see why he's the starting quarterback and he's the team captain and all those things. He just has that personality. Great guy, good decision-maker. And he's just one of those dudes you root for. He's just, like I say, he's just fun to be around. And you have seen progress, and I've talked to him about that some, and he said, yeah, you know what? It's been fun to see not only him, but this offense develop over even the past few months between, say, the end of last season and spring ball and going through camp here. But, yeah, looking forward to seeing Mike take those first snaps on Saturday out at Hawaii.
Kevin, we're looking forward to the season 2 of Clark Lee. Hopefully they can make some good progress here. Before we let you go, though, you and I go so far back in our mutual admiration for the great Vin Scully, who passed away since the last time you and I talked on the air. And I think you were doing some Vin Scully impersonation, which you've done many before. We all have, right? But it was a sad day, but, I had to laugh because what an amazing life and amazing legacy that guy has.
Oh, no doubt, Willie. And, I felt the same way you did. The amount of history that guy saw is just remarkable. And you think about almost 7 decades of calling the Dodger games, and they would have things where they would tell stories, and people would talk about stuff that maybe they saw on a video or read in a book, and Vince Scully would have actually lived those experiences, and that to me is what was just so remarkable about him, is he spanned all the generations of not just Dodger fans but baseball fans, and he had all these great moments besides just the Dodger games. I mean, you remember the Game 6 of the World Series in '86, and of course the Kirk Gibson home run against the A's and all those things. But just a remarkable career for that guy. To me, he's almost the ultimate broadcasting icon, maybe more than just sports, but just broadcasting in general. Just an unbelievable person, and just a great person. Obviously, one of the greatest broadcasters of all time.
Yeah, he sets the bar, no question, with so many things. So, Kevin, enjoy the trip to Hawaii. We'll be watching, we'll be listening, and bring home a victory here. We need the Commodores to get off on the right foot here.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good trip. Norman Jordan and I are going out on Thursday, so we'll be Hawaii time. We'll be there Thursday afternoon, and then be there for a couple days and do the game on Saturday. But it'll be at 9:30 start Saturday night, and it'll be 4:30 local time out in Hawaii. But ready to get rolling.
All right, outstanding. Kevin Ingram from the Vanderbilt Radio Network. And it'll be the Commodores and Hawaii. And it's, as Kevin pointed out, a smaller stadium, a good atmosphere, a small but condensed crowd there. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch coming up on Saturday. Stay tuned. We'll wrap up the show when we come back. We'll give you the news and notes of the day and set the table for Stillman & Company coming up at the top of the hour.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Those mostly sunny skies continuing for the remainder of our afternoon with highs in the upper 80s. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies, and we return to that muggy condition that we've seen the past several nights with lows in the 60s. For Fox 17, I'm Code Red meteorologist Zach Covey.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Are you sick and tired of constant pain in your knees, hips, or back? Especially this time of the year. You need to be moving pain-free, right? Hey, Willy Donick here for the team at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people every day, giving them lasting pain relief using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The science is simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing the damaged tissue. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery. The old remedies for pain are not the only remedies. You need to learn more about how regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can change your life. Make this the last summer you suffer from chronic pain. They've got clinics here and all over America. This is the exciting new, natural way to deal with joint pain. No side effects, no downtime. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
This week's Nashville's Best Deal is Seafood Sensation. Often imitated but never duplicated, Seafood Sensation is Nashville's original seafood restaurant. Right now, you can get half off a $25 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes, like their crab legs platter, grilled salmon, and more. That's Seafood Sensation, located at 2719 Jefferson Street near the TSU campus. Get half off a $25 gift card while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Final segment here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase will be full throttle tomorrow with Chase's return from vacation.
We will be. Are we at camp?
We will be over at Titans camp tomorrow with Arizona in town. The Cardinals will practice against the Titans tomorrow, and then they will play them eventually on Saturday night. And then the preseason will be, as they say, in the books. So some of the key roster moves yet to be made. And this was something I heard today, Derek. Joe Rexroad and Robbie were kicking this around. The number of players that will be cut from around the league between now and next week is pretty sizable. And so right now, so many people are focused on the offensive line for the Titans, where regardless of how you feel about Dylan Radins or Nicholas Petit-Frere or Jamarco Jones, some of the guys that are there that haven't lit the world on fire or at different levels, I think people are pretty optimistic about Petit-Frere. But one way or the other, I have to believe that they're looking around and wondering, is there somebody out there that could help them, if nothing else, for depth?
Well, yeah, because there are going to be some good veterans cut, for salary cap reasons, or they felt salary cap reasons, meaning, hey, they got a younger guy that they feel can do the job just as good or even better as the veteran guy, and he's cheaper, and the veteran guy is making a little bit too much money, so they cut ties with the veteran guy. So those things are going to happen, and some guys are just going to get released because they're because it's a numbers game with other teams. So that's why, as you're looking at the Titans roster, their roster, even after they make their cut downs, their roster is not going to be cemented, because there's still going to be one or two moves that they make. And I'm sure, just like everybody else, the Titans understand that offensive line can potentially be a problem moving forward. They haven't solidified it yet, and we're almost done with the preseason, and they still haven't solidified who's going to be the starters up front, other than Davis, Ben Jones, and Taylor Lewan. So that tells me that they could be possibly making some moves, once teams make their cuts and they can pick up veteran guys.
I think that's got to be an area they look at. We talked to Joel Corey earlier in the show, and he was looking at the Titans cap situation, and he thought, for a team that has had, and everybody went through this, especially with the pandemic, but he thought that the Titans had managed the cap pretty well. They've got a decent amount of money to go make some moves if they want to. They're not going to sign a superstar or anything like that, but if they wanted to add somebody, they've got ample room to do that. I think we know that they've done a good job over the years of identifying players off the street that come in and are a fit. So hopefully there's a couple of those. I can't imagine what would be tougher than getting we're watching, Hard Knocks comes on every year. You see these stories where they bring the guy in there and they tell him he's made the team, or you get over the hump of the quote final cut over the weekend, only to find out that after all the waiver claims have gone through, they've signed a couple more guys, and you're the odd man out. Wouldn't that would be really, really tough to stomach?
Yeah, it is. That's why, you never make a team, at least for like that bottom half of the roster. You never make a team until you make it. And it's like, what I mean by that, it's, okay, we're going to make our cuts, and we're going to get down to 53 men. But just because we got down to 53 men doesn't mean that, say once New England finished cutting all their guys, we don't see a guy on New England's, cut roster that we want to pick up. So now we pick up that guy. What does that do to our roster? Well, it changes it again. So whoever that 53rd man or 52nd man was, you thought you were on the team. You made the final cut, but you come in Wednesday and you're not on the team anymore. That's tough. That's, and I've seen it plenty of times. Fortunately, I hadn't been a part of that type of cut, but obviously I have been released. But that's a tough deal. I've seen a lot of people go through it, man, and it's tough.
What are you looking for tomorrow? We're going to be out there tomorrow. Who are you going to be watching most closely?
I want to watch that offensive line. I really do. Radence, he has to know that he's on thin ice right now. He has to know it. So how does he react versus the Cardinals, and now does he gain confidence from the way he played last game? Then looking at the wide receivers, who's going to step up? Who's going to be that 4, 5, and potentially 6 guy? Who's going to truly step up and solidify? Because you only got like 2 weeks here, to make a true statement that you deserve to be on this team.
And they've got to then make a decision.
Exactly.
We got to move forward and game plan for the Giants.
And these 2 weeks go by fast, real fast. So
it doesn't for us, the fans.
Yeah, it doesn't for us, but for them,
the media, it seems like forever. But for them, I'm sure you feel like, especially a coach too, trying to prepare.
Because you're worried. It's like, man, maybe you're not getting the reps. Maybe you want to get more reps, and you feel I'm not getting an opportunity to showcase what I can do. It gets frustrating. So, these last 2 weeks is going to be critical for guys, in that receiver room, guys on that offensive line. And I want to see the defensive backs too. I know a lot of people are, I think Caleb Farley has what it takes, but, I just need to, like I said yesterday, he needs to work. He needs to learn how to play with his feet better and not look to grab and hold everybody. But I think he has all the physical tools to play in this game. But, once the season starts and they line you up, if they throw you out there and you're the starting corner, if you start to grab and hold, they're going to call it, and you're going to cost your team a lot of 15 yards or a lot of, 20-yard penalties and stuff of that nature. So
I wonder if there'll be referees out there, because I remember from time to time a coach will bring out refs and actually call plays, right? Or call penalties if they feel, or at least let you know.
Yeah, typically they have them coming out, and it would help. It would help someone like Caleb Farley, that a ref is right there with him and letting him know, hey, listen, this is what we're going to call. You can't do this. You can't grab and pull. You may get away with it once in a while, but if I'm looking at you as a ref and there's a noticeable pull or grab, I'm going to call it. And eventually, you don't want to get labeled as a guy that holds and grabs, because they're going to throw it on you every time.
They're looking for it.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Even if you don't do it, it looks like you do it, they're going to throw the flag.
All right, D-Mase, I've got one last thing. This is I'm going to be watching very closely all the things you're pointing out here. It's going to be a fun practice tomorrow, but also I am really hoping that the Mets pull it off tonight against the Yankees, because there's a lot of Yankee fans in the media. Kuharski, McCormick, they're there, right? So Tehran and I, we carry the flag for the Metropolitans. They lost last night. And need to get back on there, because the Braves get to play the Pirates, who are basically a AAA team. And so the Braves are going to win. The Braves are going to win 100 games. So the Mets need to win at least 101 to hold on to this division. And it is the Braves do not lose. They're really, really good. The last 3 games are in Atlanta, Mets Braves. So, but really for bragging, for pride, the Mets can take the Subway Series if they can win tonight at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
A lot on the line.
Let's go, Mets.
Let's go. Let's do it. All right, we're done. Stillman and Company on deck. In fact, they're coming in the studio right now. Jared Stillman, Caroline Fenton. Stay tuned.
Way out.
Watch the game.
Line to left, coming on Newstrom. Base hit, Soundswind.
We talk the game.
But they knew he'd be really good. Well, if they don't make that move, they don't win those championships.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you missed the latest from Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Fitzy, how concerned should Colts fans be and how elated should Titans fans be about how horrible the Matt Ryan era got?